Yeah, this is case number 589 on the calendar in the matter of Clymer versus Culp. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Mrs. Clymer, is this your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to know who the players were. According to your complaint, the defendant, who is the current girlfriend of your soon-to-be ex-husband,
Yes, ma'am.
drove your car without permission when you weren't home one weekend and blew the engine on the car. You want her to replace the engine.
Yes.
There is a counterclaim by Ms. Culp for defamation. She says that you've been spreading nasty rumors about her. So, when were you and your husband married?
December 14th, 1999.
So it's a short-term marriage.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have no children together.
No, we do not.
Do you have any children of your own?
Yes, I do.
How old are they?
28 and 25.
So they don't live with you.
No, they don't.
Mr. Clymer, does he have children?
Yes, he does.
Were they living with you at the time
Yes,
that
they
you
are.
were together?
Yes.
How old are they?
17 and 15.
When did this incident happen with the car?
Approximately on a Saturday. I left town.
What date?
I think it was around the 28th.
Of what month?
December.
Now, on December 28th, were you and your husband still living together
Yes,
as man
ma'am,
and wife?
we were. 2 days after Christmas. And then I left town to take my $2 back to Emmett and visit my mom.
Okay, so on the 27th, you had a discussion with him about divorcing. I assume that that didn't come as a shock to you.
Yes, it did, ma'am.
It did?
Yes, it
You didn't
did.
know anything was wrong?
No, I did not.
Did you ask him why?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
Because I didn't make him Rice Krispie bars. I didn't go to church. And just ridiculous comments why he wanted a divorce.
So you got in your car and you left?
Well, that following morning I left.
So you left on the 28th?
Yeah, I think it was Friday morning. Yeah.
When did you return home?
Sunday evening.
Okay, and according to your complaint, when you returned home, the defendant was there.
Yes, ma'am.
Had you known her before?
No, I do not. I don't even know who she is.
She's never laid eyes on me before today, Your Honor.
Should I get down to the...
No, I don't want
Okay.
to. You found her in your house?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what did you do when you found her in your house?
I went to the police station and asked her if she would be removed from my premises.
And they said?
It was community property and...
Right,
it
and
was
he could have any guests that he wanted in the house.
That's right.
Now, when you were married in 1999, was this your house or was it your husband's house?
No, ma'am, we just bought this house a week prior to this incident.
Really?
Yes, we did.
And it's in both your names?
It's in his name, but the money that went in this house came from my house in Emmett that I sold.
How much money?
Around $9,000.
How much was the house?
59.
Why didn't you have the house put in both names? I'm just curious.
They said, I even asked him at the time, I said, is my name going to be on the deed? And they said, well, it's community property state, you are still reliable for this house. And I says, I want to know. I want my name on that deed too.
How old are you?
48.
The last house, the house that you sold, was that in your name?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Were you married at the time you had that house to someone else?
No, I bought that singly.
Okay, so you know about putting your name on a deed?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I even asked the realtor, I said, I would like to have my name on that deed. They said, it doesn't matter. You know.
Okay. All right. You're currently going through a divorce. Your husband is in the house?
No, I am in the house.
You're in the house now?
Yes.
So he had other place to go?
Yes, he did.
Fine. All right, now tell me about this car. You drove a car while you were there for that weekend.
Yes, I did.
Why?
The car belongs to Bob's daughter. I was driving the car because it needed to be serviced. Martha was out of town. Therefore, she couldn't drive the car. I left Athena the keys to my vehicle so she could go to work. She handed me her keys to her vehicle, which I in turn went to go pick him up from work to take the car to be serviced and then return it to Athena's work so that I could trade my car back. The car never made it past Kimberly Road, which is approximately 3 miles from the destination.
Okay. Mrs. Clymer, what kind of car is this so I
It's a
can...
95 Kia Sophia.
Was that your stepdaughter's car?
We give it to her to drive back and forth to work and also back and forth to school.
So it was a gift to your stepdaughter?
Yes.
Martha,
Fine,
Your
then
Honor,
you
does not even have a set
just a
keys
sec.
to this car.
Shh. It was a gift to your stepdaughter. You can't sue her. It's a gift. You made a gift to your stepdaughter, you and your husband. That car belongs to the child, and I assume that if the car is going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed by him. So don't take out your anger on him against your stepdaughter. That's ridiculous. So get over that. Let's get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is that Mrs. Clymer is telling people around town that you broke up her marriage and you're a home wrecker.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's true.
I'm not sure.
Truth is a perfect defense. You
Your
know,
Honor,
you got to
their
wait
marriage
until the
was
body is cold.
Your Honor, their marriage was over before I even came into the picture. I
didn't
didn't
know
even
that.
know
That's what he
Robert
told you.
Clymer.
Listen
I
to
didn't
me.
even know Robert Clymer until October of this last year.
Listen to me. She was living there up until December 25th, right?
Yes.
He was living there up until December 25th, right?
Yes.
She goes away on December 28th, and you come over. That's 3 days. That doesn't mean the marriage is over. That means he may have told you that the marriage was over, but you knew you couldn't call the house. You didn't call the house there prior to that time, did you?
They don't have a home phone.
You didn't go over there to visit, did you, before
No.
that time?
I did come into town, yes. I knew
whether you went
the,
into
the whole
town,
family
just
before
listen
I even
to
met
me.
him.
Listen to me. He would meet you elsewhere, and you still knew that he was living together with his wife.
Yes.
So this is a bit more interesting than not making Rice Krispie balls.
You're right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Martha Clymer says her estranged husband's girlfriend, Renee Culp, drove her car without permission and blew up the engine.
All right. So truth is a perfect defense. And you probably did have something to do with the termination of the marriage. He found somebody else that made better Rice Krispies anyway. But that doesn't mean that she can't go around town telling people that you wrecked her home, because in her mind you did, and probably had something to do with it. So your counterclaim is dismissed. Give him back the car. Sign it over to him. Do you understand? Good. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She is hostile and upset by the fact that I am now seeing her husband.
Coming home and finding those two in bed, and, you know.
Can you prove that it was me? She never even saw my face before today, and her allegation of catching us in bed, she's wrong.
Stand up for your rights.
Be careful.
Don't listen to your ex-husband.
I just want it all over with.
And now the next case.
All parties on Dora versus Dykstra. Step forward, please.
40-year-old homemaker Diane Dorr is suing her former landlord, 50-year-old engineer Richard Dykstra, for disposing of her personal property, the return of her security deposit, and emotional distress.
Ms. Dorr, the defendant was your landlord.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, he evicted you, and you want him to return your security deposit, which I think was $700.
Yes.
You claim that he disposed of property of yours, and you also were suing him for $500 for your stress. So let me get some facts. When did you commence a lease with Mr. Dykstra?
July of '99.
And what was your rent?
$650.
$650 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, and you agree with that, Mr. Dykstra, that you put down that security deposit?
I agree.
And when were you served with an eviction notice?
On April 4th, 2001.
Do you have a copy of that?
I sure do.
I'd like to see it, please.
He left it on the gate. I don't know that matters, but I don't have a problem with moving out anyway. Pretty much lived through hell
Just
there.
one moment. So you gave a 30 days notice effective 4/4/01?
That's when I filed with the Sheriff's Department, and the Sheriff did not deliver this until the 9th of April, and I took that into account with the 30-day period.
So you were to be out of the apartment by May 9th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, were you out on or before May 9th?
Apparently, he says I wasn't. He went over there, and I would lie to you if I told you the date. I wasn't there because I was pregnant and not allowed to be out of bed. I begged the man.
What do you mean I'm not allowed to be out of bed?
I wasn't supposed to be out of bed.
Just a minute. So where were you?
I was at the new place.
So you moved out to a new place. When did you move out?
I started within 3 weeks of that notice after trying to beg him for a month extra. He would not give it to me. He wouldn't give me a reason. I said, fine, I'm just going to go. I can't handle this. Figured I'd clean the place, get everything out, right? I'm at the new place going back and forth to the hospital. I hired somebody to come in and clean it.
Okay, just one second. So let me understand this. You did, in fact, move out prior to May the 9th?
Yes.
Physically, you physically?
Physically. I left
But you
when he
left-
attacked me and my children. Not physically. I left because of that. Yes, I did. He cussed me out, and I left. I was
Fine.
afraid.
Good. So you left, and is what you're saying is that there was property of yours left after May 9th in the apartment?
No, I believe it was before that. After May 9th, I never went back. He locked the doors on May 9th, changed
Good.
the locks.
Now, is the property that you're complaining of that was disposed of by the defendant property that was there at the time he changed the locks on May 9th?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you're not entitled to that back. Stuff that's considered abandoned. So we've just dealt with that. Now, you said you hired a cleaning crew.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You weren't at the house on May 9th?
I might have been there once. I wasn't there when he came in and pushed them out and changed the lock. I was not
That
there.
was on May 9th?
Yeah.
On the date that you were supposed to be out? And you still had people cleaning in the apartment?
Yeah.
So he said what?
Your Honor, she paid for the month of April. Okay, so that was covered. That wasn't the problem. Starting May 1st, there was no rent being paid. I gave her to the 9th, actually to the 10th, And so I was losing $20 a day at this point.
He had $700 in
Just
deposit.
a second. Don't speak.
So after I saw the progress her so-called cleaning crew was making, which was very, very slow, I have pictures here, Your Honor, and I'd like you to take a look at
So do I.
of the house.
Miss Dorr.
And,
Miss Dorr, listen to me very carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to display erratic kind of behavior, do you?
Okay. No.
You are.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have pictures of the house, and the cleaning crew was moving very, very slow.
You mean
So-
on May, do you have pictures of the house on May 9th or May 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, see them, please.
And rather than lose $20 a day and wait for these people to do what they were doing very slowly, I thought it was in the best interest of myself to just perform the cleaning myself. So I asked them to leave. I said, that's fine. It's a good enough job. Just go on your way.
Now, Mr. Dykstra, are these the two sofas that she claims that were left behind?
Yes, ma'am. Anything that was left in the house at that period, I moved out into the garage. I did change all the locks on the house, but I allowed them access to the garage until everything was taken out of that garage.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Did they take these two
Yes, they did.
couches? They did?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
As you could see, if there was any cleaning done, it's not apparent in the pictures.
Maybe it was worse.
Could have been.
Didn't you ever clean the stove?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that those pictures came from the next door place. That wasn't my stove. I have papers where an inspector came in and says that everything was good in that house. She said I had the cleanest stove she had ever saw. It's documented here.
Oh, let me see that.
And
Just a second. I'd like to see that.
okay, I'm gonna send them with Bert. And a thing where I had the carpet cleaned in the year that I was there, year and 9 months. These are also pictures of what we were breathing and some of the stuff coming out of there that had damaged a lot. You know what I mean? So I paid the rent, lived there while we breathed that. My kids were sick and going back and forth to the hospital breathing that stuff.
Well, you should have moved out sooner.
Well, we tried. I did the best I could, but I understand, and you're right, I should have. From what I could, he was on my property every day drinking. I'm an alcoholic, so it really had offended me when he did that. Before that, he was cutting the locks off.
Do you see me looking at you? Would you please point out to me where it says here, madam, that you had the cleanest stove the inspector had ever seen?
Well, she mentioned it.
Would you point that out to me? I'd like to see it.
I don't know if it's on
Well,
here,
just
maybe.
take a look. That's what you were giving me.
She didn't. She said it to me then. It wasn't written, but it doesn't say anything's ruined in there.
I asked you to answer my question.
Okay, it doesn't say it.
Okay. You want to show me, sir, a list of things that you claim that you spent money on to put this apartment back in condition to re-rent?
Yes, Your Honor. I have
like
two
to-
separate ones here. The initial one, full expenses. She had a young pup, and it made a mess of the carpet, and I thought it could be cleaned, but I had to replace it after that. So even prorating the carpet over 5 years, for her 2 years, I still come up with a lot more that she owed me than I owe her. The rest was just little incidentals, mini blinds. I'm talking $20 here. You can't find a mini blind for $20. I'm not
Excuse me,
gouging her on
Your
anything.
Honor.
Look, I just want you to tell me, sir, how much you spent on somebody coming in and doing a general cleaning in the apartment.
I cleaned it myself. That's what it would have cost me to do something like that.
I just wanted to tell him about the blinds. When I had moved in, he told me I put a dog door in for the dog could go have access.
Yeah.
And we had cut them. That's where he's talking about the damage, so the dog would be above it. He said that was okay, don't worry, because once you'd lived there for a year, the blinds paid for themselves. Otherwise, I would have bought new ones and sat them in there.
Oh, I've seen places that look worse. Seen places that look better, but places that look worse as well. I want to get to your stress complaint, Ms. Dorr. I usually don't entertain that. I gather that you were living there for a while and that you complained several times about other neighbors, 2 other neighbors in particular, according to the defendant. One neighbor you said was selling drugs, and you evicted that person. Is that
Yes,
right?
I did.
And then the plaintiff had somebody that she thought would be a good tenant, somebody that was
Correct.
going to do some babysitting for her.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you rented to that person.
Yes, I did. They were good tenants.
And what happened to that tenant?
They babysat for the county, and that was their major portion of their income. And after they quit watching the plaintiff's child for free, they thought they was being taken advantage of. She responded by calling the Child Protective Services and filed a complaint that said her son had been sexually abused by their son. So therefore, they lost their license, they lost their income, and they had to move.
Is there any reason other than those 2 instances why you decided to evict the plaintiff?
After 2 tenants and initially not knowing who to believe, Diane is very good at She's very convincing.
Not to me.
Okay. Well, I had a hard time at first, so I didn't know who to believe, the other tenant or her. And so I gave her the benefit of the doubt at the first time. But on the second instance, after that, it was obvious who was telling the lies here. And it cost me a couple months' rent there, plus fixing up the other places. And then when I evicted Diane, it cost me a month's rent there, and I had to fix that place up. Pretty soon, you have to look out for your own well-being.
Okay. Tell me about your stress, Miss Dorr.
I'm not even going to bother because obviously you believe him. He had those places rented the day we were out of there.
Good.
All of them were, so.
Oh, that's great.
But I have
And
copies of police reports, and I didn't call Children's Services. The school did. My son reported it to the school what had happened. And I don't know if I'd call it sexual abuse. It was the little boy on top of him. And if my son needs to tell the school that, I'm not going to tell him to be quiet.
Okay. Well, Mr. Dykstra, let me tell you this, sir. When the tenant moves out, things are never really perfect. You certainly are entitled to cleanup fees. I don't care who did it, whether you did it or whether someone else performed the service of cleaning up this mess, and there was a mess. And if you had a crew in to clean it up, they would have charged you at least $250 to clean it up, because that's more than one day's work for one person. It's more like one day's work for 3 people. Now, right now, $513 is the amount that I have that's deducting what she owed you for May's rent.
That's correct.
Or she chose not to be out by the 1st of May. If she were out the 1st of May, then you wouldn't have to pay any part of May's rent. And I'm also going to deduct from that $250 for the mess that you left behind, leaving $263. And I believe that you should give that back to her from her security deposit, and that's what I'm ordering. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $263. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I never threatened her kid, no.
I just think it's lousy that a landlord gets to screw somebody over one more time.
Her personality has changed a lot. There was times where she wouldn't even come to the door and talk to me. She thought I was conspiring against her.
The guy next door was harassing me on a daily basis, trying to kill my animal.
Could have been her past drug history, I don't know.
She didn't want to hear it, I guess because I have a tattoo.
I believe I gave her every benefit of the doubt.
I don't have a job, and I have a tattoo, so he wins and he gets to rip me off. It's not right.
But I finally did eventually learn to tell when she was lying. Her lips would move.
He was in my yard drinking all the time on a daily basis. He would show up drunk.
I'm not opposed to having a beer once in a while, especially when I'm mowing her yard.
And don't drive around Lancaster because he drives and drinks.
Never, that's false.
Don't run from Rick Dykstra, you know.
Just appreciate the outcome here and that the judge saw through her.
Your divorce, when all matters of finances had been resolved, your wife used a credit card that was in your name without your authorization, and it was a gas credit card, and according to you, in a very short period of time, a few days, she ran up a bill of well over $500. You want to be compensated for that. Ms. Calderon states in her answer that she believed that you left this card open for her because you were being a nice guy and you knew that she was struggling financially. Of course, you say that when you confronted her with that, her reaction was somewhat different. Can I see a copy of your judgment of divorce, please?
Yes.
You were married for 25 years?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is that right? And you have kids?
Yes.
How many children?
2.
Grown?
Yes.
It is clear from the judgment of divorce that any and all liabilities incurred after December 14th of 2004 belong to each of you separately. Now, when were these credit card bills made?
October 13th through the 19th
Of 2005?
of 2005. I have a
Can I see them, please? How did you become aware of them, sir?
I have received a letter of address change, and I knew that I had not changed my address. I didn't even know the credit card existed. And when I called them, they told me that I had requested to change my address, and I thought that there was something wrong with that and asked if there was any charges on the account.
Okay, Ms. Calderon, the ball is in your court. Explain it to me, please.
Basically, the reason that I was in the situation I was in is because I was so heavily in debt and destroyed from what he had done to me from this divorce, because he knew that last year when my daughter graduated high school, my oldest daughter graduated college, and my oldest daughter got married, that I had put a lot of money into that. And
This has nothing to do
well,
with that.
but this is why I
Ms.
was.
Calderon,
This is why
this has nothing to do with that. This is not.
I would have never
even-
used it though.
This is not even a large amount of money. We're talking about a gas credit card where it's clear you allowed someone else to use this gas credit card.
I got gas for my kids. We were all struggling. He destroyed us all.
Just a second. In 4 days, you got gas for your children. You have 2 children and yourself.
Right.
You filled up the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what's $98.20. That's not a car fill up. Or $83.
It was a case of oil.
A case of oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times. Let us assume 3 people's cars, 13 times in a 4-day period. So, Ms. Calderon, don't play with me. This is not because you needed money.
Yes, it was.
When you enter into an agreement, and I assume that this was your agreement, it looks as if it was boilerplate clauses. You agreed that after December of 2004, you would not make any debts for the other party. You chose not to do that.
His friend told my daughter that he left the cart open, felt sorry for me because he knew how hard of a time I was having.
Oh, okay, well, that's a different story. Is that person here today?
Yes.
Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
David Dover.
Mr. Dover, did you ever tell Mr. Calderon's daughter that this credit card was left open?
No, ma'am. I never knew the card existed. I never knew anything about it.
Step up. You're the daughter.
Yes.
Your name?
Angela Schubert.
Angela, tell me about this alleged conversation.
We were going to dinner for my birthday, and I was sitting in front, and we had just found out I was pregnant that day. It was August 18th. We picked up my dad from work, and it was before I picked him up for work, and we were just talking about the divorce. I was trying to get to know him since, he lives with my dad now. And he just happened to say, well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom. Because we didn't know, because all the gas cards were closed.
Let me ask you this question. Somebody must have been complaining about money.
No.
Because the statement that you ascribed to this gentleman, this is what you said. Well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom.
We were talking
It's always a response to something said to him.
We were talking about how hard it was for everyone in the divorce, and how it happened. We were talking about how hard it was. And he said, well, your dad left a gas card open for your mom, and, to help her out a little bit.
And you went back and told her, shh.
I didn't tell her right away.
You didn't tell her right away. When did you tell her?
Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks tops.
Okay, so a week and a half, 2 weeks tops, you tell your mother. And your mother didn't have this credit card.
Yes, I do.
Just a second. You didn't have it. According to you found it. Listen to me. You found it. When did you find it?
I wasn't trying to use any of the credit cards.
When did you find it?
When she told me he left it open for me and we were having such a hard time.
Well, did you call him and say...
I can't. We don't communicate.
What do you mean? You don't have the telephone?
He communicates through the kids.
Before I would extend his credit based upon hearsay, I would have picked up a telephone or sent him a note. Is it true that I can use this credit card? I certainly would have at least, if I believed that it was true that he held open this credit card, Miss Calderon, I would have tried it for 1 month. He would have gotten the bill and he would have said, well, I have a $40 bill for gas. I wonder what this is from. But you didn't do that. You charged $500 worth of gas in 4 days. And then, according to your former husband, when he confronted you, because you did call her.
I actually contacted her via email. I don't call her. I had to change my number so many times.
Fine. So you didn't?
But I did contact her.
And what was her response?
She said that go ahead and prosecute her. It would be well worth it for the look on my face.
Can I see it, please?
I was shocked that he wanted to prosecute me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I still am in shock that he's done what he's done to us. And
You're shocked.
Calderon says ex-wife Linda Calderon made unauthorized charges on his credit card.
Well, this email acknowledges, Miss Calderon, that you used this card But you said, I figured I'd be able to make payments just like you would.
If he had a problem with what I got. But I got things to help us because I knew how he always tries to make himself appear to be generous, but his MO is not generosity. And
Listen
I knew
to me, he doesn't have to be generous with you anymore.
he has never been generous with
Ms.
me.
Calderon, then you stayed with somebody for 25 years who wasn't generous. You're divorced now. And what you have to do is you have to put a period and move forward. The economics of divorce is never easy. When you try to run two households on the same salaries that you were using to support one household, that's never easy for anybody. But what you cannot do is, you cannot say, I have a contract, and I'm not satisfied with the terms of the contract, so I can, because of necessity, because I was married to him for 25 years, because we have children together, they have needs, whatever, I'm going to extend his credit. You can't do that.
I still am in shock that he's done what he's done to us.
Listen to me.
And
You're shocked.
I never thought he was that cold-blooded, and I still can't believe it.
The retaliation was not to use a credit card.
I didn't do it in retaliation.
Well, then you got to pay it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $507. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was married to a snake, and I had no idea I was.
My ex-wife has been harassing me, and this is just another form of harassment.
It's all because of self-indulgence and selfishness that someone would do this to their family in the first place.
She actually moved out on me, but if you hear her talk, she'd think that, I left her.
I don't know who he is, and I thought that, he really was trying to be generous and help us.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Schoonmaker versus Huddleston. Step forward.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker is suing her daughter, 20-year-old Heather Huddleston, for stealing and pawning her wedding rings. Heather claims she had her mother's permission.
The schoolmaker, this young lady is your daughter, and according to your complaint, she owes you some money. She owes you some money because, as a result, according to you, of her drug abuse, she fell behind in her rent. She and her boyfriend, and she came to you for money, and you gave her jewelry to pawn. She pawned the jewelry. She was supposed to get it out. She didn't. You lost the jewelry. You want the money. Is that right?
Well, she also stole my wedding rings out of my jewelry box and pawned them without my knowledge.
For how long has your daughter had a drug problem?
I didn't know that she had one. She told me it was her boyfriend.
When she came to you and asked for money, she told you that the boyfriend had a drug problem?
She said that he was spending money on things he shouldn't be. He was doing drugs and stuff like that.
So then why in the world would you give her jewelry to pawn?
I gave it to her so she would have a place to live. I didn't want her.
Why couldn't she come home?
I have other children that I don't want exposed to the lifestyle that she was doing.
Well, just a second. I thought you said there was nothing wrong with her lifestyle. It was the boyfriend.
And I don't know what her lifestyle was. I know that she was spending money and doing things that she should not be doing.
Then you
That's the reason that
you
she
shouldn't
left.
have given her your jewelry.
You're right.
So then what are you doing in court?
I'm doing it in court because she stole rings from my jewelry box that I had no knowledge of.
I want you to forget about the pawn jewelry.
Right.
And I think that you knew what her lifestyle was, and that if you gave her jewelry to pawn, there was no legitimate expectation of you getting this money back, because drug abusers don't return money. Drug abusers their noses. Right, Miss Huddleston?
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother says that after she gave you this jewelry to pawn, which you did, you stole some property from her. Did you?
That's not true.
Well, tell me about these wedding rings that she said that you took.
The wedding rings she never wore, and I came upon a time when I needed money for rent, and she told me to go ahead and take the jewelry out of her jewelry box, the wedding rings, to pawn them so I could pay rent, because she never wore them. She hasn't worn them in 5 years.
That's not true.
What other jewelry did she give you?
Previously, she had given me a bag of gold necklaces and a ring that my grandmother had given her. She offered it. I never asked her for money. I told her that I was having problems, and she offered it to me.
That's not true.
What kind of drugs were you or are you involved with?
I was smoking marijuana, and she knew.
And the boyfriend?
Anything and everything.
But not you?
The only thing I ever did was marijuana.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker says her daughter, Heather Huddleston, stole her wedding rings and pawned them.
Still with the boyfriend?
Nope.
Who do you live with now?
I live with friends in Arizona.
Do you work?
Not yet. I'm a student
You're a student where?
at massage therapy school.
Who pays for it?
I got a grant.
Pays for your living expenses.
I do.
From what?
I have money.
From what?
Doing various jobs. I clean houses and babysit.
Oh, what a bunch of baloney. What a bunch of baloney.
It's true.
My dear Miss Huddleston, you wouldn't know the truth if it came up and cracked you in the face. The wedding rings. When did you find out that they were missing?
When I always go into my jewelry box because I keep my earrings and everything in there. I wasn't wearing the rings because one of the diamonds was loose.
Don't tell me you weren't wearing them. You weren't wearing them.
I wasn't wearing them, and they were gone. I called her at school. She was going to massage therapy school at the time when this happened, and I said, my wedding rings are gone. Do you know where they are? Have you done? She goes, no, I don't know, but when I come home, I will help you find them. And she came home, and I sat her down, and I said, I'm calling the police. And once the police are involved, if you're involved, you're going to jail because I can't stop it. And she said she took them and she pawned them and she thought she could get them back in my jewelry box before I noticed.
That's what drug addicts do.
I know.
Not casual marijuana smokers. How much were the wedding rings pawned for?
$150.
Did you go to the pawn shop to try to get them back?
I didn't know what pawn shop it was, and her boyfriend called me and told me after she left him, for no reason, he didn't even know that she had left him, that he went down to the pawn shop because that's where he gave her the money to go down and pick them up and bring them to me. She told me she was on her way to my house to do laundry and bring me my rings and never showed up. And this is the first time I've seen her since then. The pawn shop had sold all the rings a while ago.
You know who she's living with now?
A guy that she met on the internet.
One guy? Or
One
friend?
guy with his old girlfriend and his baby.
How old is she?
She'll be 21 in December. I tried to help her. I don't know how else to help her. And I feel like she needs to start paying for the things that she's doing. And I just thought here at least she would start seeing what her actions are going to start becoming. They're going to get worse. I don't want to have to pick her up in jail. And I won't.
Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you're ready to turn your life around.
That's what I'm hoping.
When did she leave home?
She left home when she was 19.
You go to live with this boyfriend?
She knew him a week and left.
Who else lives there?
17-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, and my 10-year-old son.
You know what these rings were appraised for that she took?
I went in and I got an estimate on what it would cost to replace all of the rings.
Not all the rings.
No, I know, but it has just them separated. My wedding ring and my engagement ring set is on here. $28.99 for the engagement ring and $880 for the wedding ring.
Are you still married to the man who gave you the rings?
Yes, I am. We've lived together for 16 years.
He's not her father.
He's not her father. But you'd never know the difference.
Anything you want to say?
She told me that those rings were remnants of an unhappy marriage and that she was happy to get rid of them. And that's why she let me pawn them. And I
never said that.
I just think it's really funny, you know, she was helping me out, and now because she's getting in trouble from my stepdad and my grandma, she's got to turn around and blame it on me, and I just don't think that's fair.
What do you think is fair?
I didn't do anything wrong. She gave it to me.
You did do something wrong. You came to your mother and you said, I got a drug addict boyfriend, I'm behind in the rent, you were living a lifestyle that was inappropriate, and you came to your mother, who clearly is not a rich lady, because if she was a rich lady, she would have had the money to give you for the rent. She didn't, so all she had was this bag of jewelry, and you're a big girl. You chose to be a big girl. You chose to move out of your house and live on your own.
I never asked her to help me. She offered to help.
How would she know that you needed anything unless you came to her and said, I don't have rent? Listen to me. How would she know that you needed money unless you came to her and told her that you didn't have rent money?
Because I came over one day and I was upset. And like any caring mother would, she asked what was wrong. At least I thought she was caring. Sorry.
You got to do the right thing. You still have time. If you continue to make bad choices in your life, you know what's going to happen. You're going to end up being, instead of a 20-year-old bum, a 40-year-old bum. If you lie down with dirt, you get dirty. Did you ever hear that expression? Did everybody say anything like that to you? If you lie down in dirt, you're going to get dirty. And it sounds to me like you went from the frying pan into the fire. It's not too late. You're still a young girl. But you better start making right choices. Because if you don't make right choices, you're going to end up a 40-year-old dirty girl instead of a 20-year-old dirty girl. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hope that it helps her see that she can't keep going on in this direction in her life.
Well, I guess she just did what she thought was right. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes. It's really hard to hear one side and then hear the other and not understand, you know, what's really going on.
I hope that she'll come back home and see that she can straighten her life out and go back to school.
She is my mom and I love her.
She's so...
Yeah, this is case number 579 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Cooper.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Why don't the fathers sit down, since neither one of you were present for the day that your two sons got into this altercation at school. What's your first name?
Zaki.
And you're David?
Yes.
According to your complaint, Zaki, you were in the locker room, and David came into the locker room. The two of you got into an altercation. It is your claim that there was a scuffle, but after you thought the whole thing was over, David came and pushed you. You fell over a bench. You chipped your front teeth. Your parents want David's parents to cover all your dental bills and pain and suffering in the amount of $5,000. That's what the case is about. David, your father says there was an argument, a fight. The fact that he chipped his tooth was a problem, but boys will be boys, and this was all a big accident, right?
Yes.
So why don't you start and tell me, first, what date did this altercation take place in the school?
October 19, 2006.
Trouble with David before?
No.
Now, why don't you tell me what happened, Zaki?
After PE, I walked into the locker room, and I was standing on the bench because I have a top locker to put in my locker combination. And then I heard David, he said, Zaki, you dark. And I said, shut up.
Just a minute. Now you're sort of talking fast so that I don't understand you. I got to the point where you were undoing your locker, and you heard what?
David called me dark.
David called you dark. And what did you say?
I said, shut up.
And then what happened?
He came over and said, say it in my face. So I said in his face, I said, shut up. Then I was bending down, and he choked me.
What were you bending down to do?
I told him to shut up in his face.
Oh, so you were standing on the bench, bending down, and told him, shut up, in your face, and he grabbed hold of your neck. Go ahead.
And then I pushed him away from me, and then he walked away with his friends. And I was getting ready to go back in my locker, so I was about to stand up on a bench to put in my locker combination. And then he pushed me, and I fell and chipped my teeth.
Okay. Now your version.
I was getting dressed in the locker room, then Zaki came in, and then he tried putting his locker combination, and then he told me that my mom was a B. So I told him to say that in my face. So I walked over.
So he said something nasty about your mother?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then I told him to say it in my face, so he told me in my face, and then he grabbed me by my neck, and then in self-defense, I pushed him over, and yet he tripped off the bench. He fell and hit his tooth on the floor.
Did you ever call him dark?
No.
I'd like to see the school report, please.
Here's the report from David, Zaki, and the witness.
Okay. One of the witnesses says that you said something bad about his mother. You know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you. Did you do that?
No.
That's not, wouldn't excuse anything, sir, if you got your teeth knocked out, if it was his fault. But did you say anything nasty about his mother?
No.
So this witness is not telling the truth?
Yes.
But they took this statement from the witness right after the incident.
But can I tell you this? I don't say bad words. So I didn't say nothing about his mom, nothing.
Nothing?
No.
You think that you acted properly that day, sir?
Yes.
You do? You think you acted properly that day?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because I put my hands on another person.
Did you put your hands on him first?
No, ma'am.
Who put their hands on who first?
Zaki Johnson put his hands on me.
What did he do?
He choked me, so in self-defense, I had to defend myself and push him
He
down.
choked you how?
By putting his hands around my neck.
How many days were you suspended in school?
4 days.
And you?
1.
You had to think. You ever been suspended from school before?
Yes.
When was the last time before this that you were suspended from school?
In 5th grade when I was fighting.
What grade are you in now?
7.
How many days were you suspended for before?
1 day.
Ever been suspended from school?
No.
Now I'll see the fathers, please. Mr. Cooper, did you agree to pay the dental bills for Mr. Johnson?
No, I didn't agree to anything. I didn't sign anything.
I didn't ask you whether you signed anything, Mr. Cooper. I asked you whether you said, those are the estimates, I'll pay for them.
No, I didn't agree to
What did
anything,
you
Your
say?
Honor. We were there to discuss the situation at hand with our two sons. And after we discussed that, then he showed me dental work or paperwork of his son. I looked at it. I didn't agree to anything.
What did you say?
I didn't say anything. I didn't agree to it.
Mr. Johnson, I'd like to hear your version of what happened in the school magnate's office.
Well, the meeting was pretty much about the incident that took place between our two sons.
Right.
It was involving the damages.
Well, tell me what Mr. Cooper indicated at that meeting.
The estimates that I could show Mr. Cooper at that time was not a full estimate because my son...
Just tell me what the estimates were and what Mr. Cooper said.
He agreed to pay for the damages.
And what was the estimate that you
A
showed?
rough estimate of how much veneers would cost.
How much?
At that time, it was $4,300.
Did he show you an estimate for $4,300?
No, he didn't, Your Honor. It wasn't for $4,300, Your Honor.
No. Couldn't have been $4,300, sir, because your complaint says it's going to cost $2,900 to fix his teeth.
Estimates. He still needed a root canal. He still needed to have things done. You got to talk, the veneers itself were $1,100 per veneer.
Your Honor.
There's no way in the world
that day-
I could have told him that. That's an estimate. I'm not a dentist.
Fine, just a second. So then what you're telling me is there was no agreement at that time by Mr. Cooper to pay any specific amount for your son's dental work because
No.
you couldn't show him any specific amount. Is that right?
No.
Correct. Okay. So they got into an altercation. They both behaved badly. The school determined that your son was 4 times as responsible as his son. Maybe they determined that, and maybe they figured that because he got 2 broken teeth, he already got punished enough, and that the 1-day suspension was enough. The school found that your son was in part responsible. Do you understand that, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
And he was in part responsible, because I'm not sure whether I believe the whole story that he told me at all.
I have something else that I would like to give you as well. The school rules for damages that are incurred where parents are responsible. This is from the school.
Listen to me, sir. He's not responsible if I rule that your son was partially responsible.
Okay.
It's not his financial responsibility if I find that your son was as culpable as his son with regard to the injury that happened to your son. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I believe that your son was culpable, in part, having this fight in the school that day. I don't believe he is an innocent. Do you understand?
I don't either.
Fine. Then if he was not an innocent, why do you believe Mr. Cooper should be responsible not only for all of the dental work, but for his pain and suffering? Why?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
He drug himself out where he was sleeping, and you could see all of his bones by then. And
How can the dogs be in bones within 3 days that we were gone?
I don't know.
Johnson says schoolmate David Cooper pushed him over a bench and chipped his teeth. David claims Zaki was trying to choke him.
Go ahead.
Based on the conversation that took place at the school between me and Mr. Cooper and our children both being there, he stated he was fully responsible.
No, that's not what you go. Because a moment ago, I said to you, did you present him with a bill? And you said, I presented him with a bill for over $4,000. That was an estimate. As it turns out, your complaint here says $2,900. But you said to me, well, that was just an estimate. We didn't know what the dental work was going to be. And he cannot agree to pay for something that doesn't have a figure.
I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here.
We're not getting ahead of ourselves at all, Mr. Johnson. First thing you have to do is accept responsibility that your son is partially responsible for what happened that day. And if he's partially responsible for what happened that day, you are partially responsible as his father to pay for his dental work. Part of it. And Mr. Cooper, whose son is partially responsible for what happened to your son that day, will bear part of the responsibility, not all of it. And certainly not for pain and suffering.
Well, the question I have is, how could I give him an estimate when I don't know what the estimate outcome was? Only thing I could give him at that point is what the dentist gave me on what could happen. I can give him this is 2 or 3 days after the accident that took place.
Mr. Johnson, if what you're saying is you're coming into court based on a contract, and the contract you had with Mr. Cooper was that whatever the dental work was, he would pay for it, right?
Yes.
That's the contract, whatever it was. And a contract has to have certain finite principles. It has to have an amount. It has to be a mutual understanding, especially when it's not in writing. So you're not coming to court here based upon a contract with him. You're coming to court based upon the fact that his son caused injury to your son. And what I am doing is I am apportioning that responsibility. I'm saying that part of that responsibility is yours because your son was partially responsible, and part of that responsibility is Mr. Cooper's because his son was partially responsible for getting into this chest-on-chest altercation that day. That's it. That's all. So now you're going to tell me what your out-of-pocket expenses were with the dentist.
$2,900 so far, with future work needing to be done.
Well then, sir, you're going to have to come back.
Okay, no problem.
I mean, you can't sue if you don't know. As you said, it's only an estimate.
Okay.
Never know what it's going to be. Right now, the parameters of your exposure were $2,900. And I believe that your son, because I'm not buying his whole story, I'm also not buying his whole story. I believe that these two boys got into an altercation, and both of them have to learn that there are consequences for saying things that shouldn't be said, putting your hands on one another. Somebody usually gets hurt, and the one that gets hurt is not always the one that's right.
True.
So your responsibility, Mr. Cooper, is $1,450. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Thank you. Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel as though that I shouldn't have to pay for anything.
I teach my son not to start things.
My son was the last man standing.
Just to finish him.
His son took the loss.
Big belief that I know my son did not put hands on him first.
But, hey, all's well that ends well.
It just didn't happen that way.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Smith versus the St. Pellegrino. Step forward, please.
Teresa Smith is suing her neighbors, Annelle DeSaint and Stephen Pellegrino, for vet bills she incurred while caring for their dachshund.
Miss Smith, you and the defendants were neighbors?
Yes, ma'am.
And there came a time that you made an agreement with the defendants to doggy sit for their dog while they were
Yes,
going
I did,
away
Your
on
Honor.
vacation. However, the dog got sick and you took the dog to the vet. And the dog required some serious intervention, which the vet did. And Ms. DeSaint and Mr. Pellegrino refused to pay the vet bill. They say that they did not authorize you to take their dog to the vet. The dog was that sick. They should have put the dog down, right?
Yes.
You paid the vet bill. You want the money back.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
What day did you start to take care of the dog?
I started to take care of the dog on a Tuesday.
You remember the date?
Let me look at my papers, please.
Sure. While she's looking, where were you going?
Going to San Diego. It was on June 5th. 3 days.
Tell me what kind of dog you had.
It was a Dachshund, I think,
What do you mean, dachshund, you think?
because the neighbor gave it to us. It was a mutt, basically.
How old was it when you got it?
We don't know. We got it from our neighbor, and they gave us a couple of dogs because, I don't know, we just took it for the kids.
Whose kids?
Our kids.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
I have a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
Do you work?
Yes, I'm a sign directional.
What is that?
Well, you know, the people that hold a sign on the corner, and they tell you where the new homes are being sold.
And what do you do?
I'm in construction.
So a neighbor gave you 2 dogs.
The first one, it was starting to get sick, so we had taken it to the vet. And the vet said that you should have it put down because it had a bad liver. So a little bit later, after that, the neighbor had to get rid of some more dogs. And so they asked us if we wanted another dog.
Was it a puppy or was it a grown dog?
Yeah, it was still a puppy. Yeah.
And you had it for a month.
Yes.
Your 3-year-old like it?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it housebroken?
No.
No.
Were you taking your children with you to San Diego?
Yes.
Where were you leaving the puppy?
We left it at our house with a bowl of food, and we asked if she can
Just
come
a second.
over.
At your house in a bowl of food, but the dog isn't housebroken.
Well, in the
We have a-
outside.
we have a
yard.
fenced-off area with a
Fenced-off
yard.
area.
So you were leaving the puppy outside?
Yes.
Is that where the puppy stayed when you were home?
Yes.
Yes.
It has a dog house out there.
And you live in California?
Yes.
And this was in June.
Not cold weather.
Yeah, it wasn't cold weather at all.
So what happened, Miss Smith?
So I went over to take care of the dog. The first day I got there, its water dish was basically just the cup off the top of a thermos, and it was completely dry. So I filled it up, and the dog drank like it had had water in almost days. And it just drank and drank and drank and drank, and it didn't touch its food. I went back that evening. I bought another water dish for it and made sure it had plenty of water. It still didn't touch its food. This went on until Thursday. It never touched its food. I even went over there one day and I even put down a can of canned dog food because usually because it's stinky, a dog will eat it. And he didn't touch it. By the time I went back that evening, it was just a dried, hard lump. So Thursday, I was able to go over and I thought, okay, maybe he's just lonely, missing the family, so I'll spend some time with him. And he just drug himself out where he was sleeping, and you could see all of his bones by then, and his nose was dry and warm.
Okay. So what did you do when you saw the dog in that condition?
Well, when I saw the dog that was that sick, I thought, this dog is going to die. And before they had left, I had asked them, before you leave, do you have an emergency phone number? And they refused to give me one because they just
They didn't give you one.
Right.
They didn't refuse. They just didn't give you one.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So I took the dog to the vet on my own because the dog was so horribly sick.
You have the vet report?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Can I say something?
Sure.
How can the dogs be in bones within 3 days that we were gone?
I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm going to read what the expert says.
Okay.
Well, the vet said your dog is very dehydrated and lethargic, raspy, lung sounds bilateral, parvo. Dog had parvo. That's a very serious diagnosis.
That's how the dog would get sick, so skinny so fast it would be throwing up.
That's a very serious diagnosis. That's how it got so sick. That should answer your question. On what date did you get home?
On the 8th.
And she told you that the dog was in the...
Well, there was a note on our door.
That the dog was in intensive care. So what did you do?
I called her, and she told me the dog was in intensive care, and basically it was going to cost like a lot of money to keep it there every day, so we called the pound. And we told them, well, is there any way we can take the dog off life support because we cannot afford this? As bad as it seems, we would probably have utilized it. But they told us we couldn't get the dog out of the pet shelter because they didn't have no paperwork that it was our dog. They only had paperwork from her. And we called her and I told her, well, we were going to have to utilize the dog. And she didn't answer, say anything about it. So then we called the pound again and we told them, well, is there any way we can get this dog? And then they said to and then we haven't heard from her for around 6 months. We haven't talked to her.
Just a second. The dog got sick before you came home. And it wasn't as a result of any negligence on her part. The dog had parvo. What would you expect her to do?
Well, she already knew that we didn't have money.
No, not what she knew, not what she surmised. What would a reasonable person, under the circumstances, be expected to do when a dog that's left in their care is clearly violently ill and they can't get in touch with the dog's owner? What would you expect them to do?
Yeah, I understand that. She had no number to reach us. The thing was that when the dog was released, we tried to get a hold of him and maybe put the bill under our name so we could pay payments on that dog. And we couldn't get a hold of her.
Your wife just told me you wanted to put the dog in the pound to have it put down.
Well,
That's what your wife told me.
At this point, I really didn't want to hassle with my neighbors. Hassle with the neighbors. So I kind of wanted to say, okay, the dog's already in the pound. What is done is done. She was just trying to be a good neighbor by taking care of the dog, and taking it there. If it got sick, I would have took someone else's dog to the pound.
Absolutely right.
To the vet also. The thing was, when the dog was released, she had never contacted us and not returned our dog to us and said, here's a bill, can you pay this bill? Trying to be neighborly instead of just taking us straight to court.
She didn't take you straight to court. This happened in June.
Well, we haven't seen the dog in 6 months.
We have tried to talk to her, and I had left messages. I went to her door, and no one had answered.
Did you go to the vet and say, I will assume responsibility for this bill?
They didn't even want to talk.
No, listen to me. I will assume responsibility for this bill. This is my dog. All she had to do was say that because she didn't want your dog. She didn't steal your dog. Come on, folks. What you said to me initially was correct, that you would have said, we don't have the money for this.
Exactly.
Put the dog down. Don't make excuses.
Right.
And all I said to you was, under the circumstances, since she had no way to contact you, she acted appropriately in taking the dog to the vet and providing whatever care the vet said the dog needed in order to survive. Because otherwise, you would be standing on that side, and you know what you'd be telling me? My children loved the dog, and she didn't take good care of it, and we would have paid the vet bill. She should have taken the dog to the vet. Instead, she let the dog die.
We would not have.
No?
I would have, if she would have came to me with a vet bill, I would have taken care of that vet bill.
Well, good. She came to you with a vet bill now.
But she never returned our dog to us.
$550. That's all. Step out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
She would have definitely paid for that bill.
I had contacted him. I told him the dog was in the vet.
And I would have definitely got my dog back.
And he responded, if I had been here, I would have let the dog die.
Used to be a friend of yours, such a good friend that she gave you a credit card with her name on it for you to use.
Actually, the credit card she kept, I charged on it.
You used the credit card?
Yes,
and you
I did.
did it for a couple of years?
Yes, I did.
According to your complaint, there came a time when there was some question about whether or not that bill had been paid off. And you claimed that the defendant came over to your house and assaulted you, beat you up.
Yes, she did.
And you are suing for the
Yes,
injuries
ma'am.
that you sustained as a result of that assault. Why did you let her charge on your credit card?
Because she doesn't have good credit, and she has 3 kids, and I've been in her children's life since they've been born, and I wanted to help her out with stuff that she needed.
And did you charge on that credit card as well?
I did charge on an accident a couple items, but I had paid it, and I have documentation that I had paid the amount that I had accidentally charged 1 month.
Only that one time?
Yes.
Other than that, the only charges on this credit card were Miss Saunders?
Correct.
And was that your agreement with her, so that you'd keep things separate?
There really wasn't an agreement. I should say there wasn't really an agreement, but that's just how I had it. I have another credit card that's for another girlfriend of mine. She uses that credit card solely just for her purchases also.
Why?
Because I'm a nice person. I like to help people out. And
all right. Now let me hear about this assault, because that's really what brought you here.
Okay.
When did that take place?
That took place on September 5th of 2003.
Tell me what happened.
The defendant came to my house. She knocked on the door. My daughter opens the door. My 9-year-old opens the door. And she proceeds to tell my daughter to go get your mother. I'm in my room, which isn't too far away from the front door, so I'm hearing the whole conversation. My daughter tells her to come back later because the defendant's witness was in the car, who is my ex-boyfriend. And I didn't want him on my property or in the vicinity of me. So she says, no, I don't want to come back later. Tell your mother I want to see her right now. Tell her to give me my $85.
You knew what she was there for?
Yes, I do. Oh, I do know what she was there for, but I didn't know that it was going to...
But you knew what she was there for?
Yes,
How did you know what she was there for?
Because I got numerous calls from her and a friend of ours.
Why did you stop making payments on the bill?
Because of the fact that I've asked on numerous occasions, once back in December of 2002 for the itemized statement. Again in May or June of 2003, I asked for an itemized statement. And then again in September, I asked for an itemized statement because I wanted to make sure that they were all mine, which they were. So I decided not to make the payment because of the fact that she wasn't coming through with the itemized statements.
How many months hadn't you made a payment?
Just that 1 month, September.
Okay, fine. And how much do you still owe the defendant on the credit card?
I owe what it is that she says, the $900 and some odd.
$932. Did you, in fact, go over each item on the bill?
Yes, I did.
And you acknowledge that those are all your bills?
Yes.
And the finance charges attached to your expenditures?
Yes.
Fine, so we've taken care of the counterclaim. $932 on your side. Go ahead. So now you're talking back and forth at the door through your 9-year-old.
Okay. So then my 9-year-old goes outside, and I'd say within 3 to 5 minutes, Rachel comes into the house. Rachel comes into my room and says, give me my money. Give me my effing money. So I said, get out. You know, I don't want you here. Get out of my house. She starts pushing me, and she pushes me back down onto the bed. I'm sitting on the bed, and she says to me, do you want me to beat your A? You know, and I'm like, are you threatening me? And she's like, do you want me to beat your butt? And I'm like, you know what? I don't want you here. I'm calling 911. She then snatches the phone out of my hand and then jumps on me on the bed. So I kick her off, and then we get up, and I'm trying to reach for my phone. And as I'm reaching for my phone, she grabbed me by the arm, and she left a bruise on my arm. And she again then pushes me back down onto the bed face first. She punches me with her fist in my head. She had all her rings on, and I had an orange bruise on my head from that. So I again ask Rachel to leave. I tell her to get off of me and get the hell out of my house. So she then pushes me around the room a couple more times and then pushes me over by the window, and the kids are outside playing. And I scream out the bedroom window, someone call 911.
Okay, then she left?
And then she left because I had finally screamed out the window for someone to call 911.
Police arrived that day?
45 minutes later.
You have a report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, start talking. You went over to the house on September 5th.
And I brought her the credit card statements, went to the door, pretty much exactly what she said. I went to the door, knocked on the door, and I asked, is your mother home? Can I speak to your mother? She said, no, she's in the bed. She doesn't want to talk to you. And I said, well, I brought her credit card statement. She asked for credit card statements. I brought her the statements. I would like my payment. And she went back in there, and she said, my mom says that she doesn't want to talk to you. She's sick. She doesn't want to come in there. And I said to Susie, I said, I want to give you these statements. I'm not going to leave.
You said to her, or you yelled to her?
I yelled to her. I said, Susie, I said, you need to come out and talk to me. You want these statements? I need the payment. The payment's going to be late. It's a $35 late fee. I want the payment. You told me once you got your welfare check that you were going to pay it. And she didn't. So I told her, I said, I'm going to step in, hand you the payments, and I'm going to leave. And she didn't say anything to me. She didn't answer me or anything. When to give her the statement, she told me to get the F out of her house, and I left.
Okay. What other paperwork do you have?
I have the restraining orders.
Let me see them, please.
This is the first one that I filed, and this is the extension.
Anything else there?
This is from the hospital.
I'd like to see it. What happened with the result of you filing this protective order? Was there a final order issued?
It's out for 3 years. The extension is for 3 years.
Okay. Ms. Kirchhoff, do you recall going to court on or about the 25th of September?
I do.
And did you see a judge at that time?
Yes, I did.
Were you represented by counsel?
Nope.
So you didn't think you needed a lawyer?
No.
Okay. Now, did you or did you not have a trial?
No.
If you did not have a trial, then you consented to the entry of a protective order.
Yes.
Well, you understand that by consenting to the entry of a protective order, it is a statement that you could not meet the charges against you were she to proceed to trial. Do you understand that? So that in effect you're saying, I am guilty. You understand that?
Yes.
Now, the plaintiff sought medical treatment. The medical report indicates that she had bruising. The medical report indicates she was provided a prescription painkiller for both her head and the bruising that she had. And you, in effect, pled guilty by consenting to an order of protection. What do you think I'm supposed to make of that?
I tried to explain my story of reason why I went over there. When I told him the reason why I went over there, that nothing happened, I went there because I wanted to give her credit card statements. He pretty much shushed me up and told me that this needs to go to small claims court. This is not to be taken care of in here. And I just said, okay, whatever, fine, I'll do whatever.
Okay, whatever, fine?
I didn't
now
say
you're
that,
playing
but-
stupid?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There are a lot of other people she could have taken over to be a witness. She didn't have to take you when you're an irritant.
There was never a problem between us.
I'm not speaking to you anymore.
Cool.
And later today,
she became verbally abusive again and told me that she was going to take everything she could from me because I had not been the kind of mother I should have been to her.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Susie Saunders claims former friend Rachel Gershinoff forced her way into her house and beat her up. Rachel admits she entered Susie's home, but claims there was no assault.
You understood exactly why you were going to court. That was not a civil proceeding, that was a criminal proceeding.
All it was a restraining. If she wants to get a restraining order against me not to see her, that's fine. I don't want to see her anyway. What is that going to do to me? There's nothing.
I'm going to tell you what it has to do with you. If you violate a restraining order, you can go to jail for an extended period of time if there is a restraining order because it's a contempt. Even if she decides not to press charges. The police officer sees you within a certain number of feet from her, police officer can arrest you, and you have absolutely no defense. Absolutely none. It's a restraining order. It lists what you can, what you cannot do. That's a difference. And I believe that you understand that. I believe that you understood that when you went there, you had the ability to have a trial. You wanted to tell your story. Say, I want a trial. I'm not guilty of anything. She says I'm guilty of beating her up. I never laid a hand on her. Why in the world would I consent to her having this order of protection till 2006? I'm not guilty. And you tell your story, you say, I want a trial. You chose not to do that.
That was a mistake on my part.
Big time. You want to know why you chose not to do that? Because you hit her. That's why you chose not to do it. You were frustrated because what she did was wrong. She's talking through her 9-year-old. She's telling her friend, get out of here, I don't want to see you. It was wrong of you to bring him over to the house.
He's my roommate.
She had no idea I was even there.
Just a second. Maybe she looked out of a window. Maybe her 9-year-old told her. How do you know? And what I'm saying is, there are a lot of other people she could have taken over to be a witness. She didn't have to take you when you're an irritant.
There was never a problem between us.
I'm not speaking to you anymore.
Cool.
You assaulted her. You have no right to assault her. You have no right to cause her injury. She owed you money. She should have paid you. And she shouldn't have been obnoxious and said, come back another time. I absolutely agree with you. You had no right to put your hands on her. You had no right to injure her. She's suing you for $5,000. Is that right?
Correct.
I want to know how many days you missed of work.
I don't work.
Why don't you work?
Because I'm a homemaker.
How many children do you have?
3.
How old are they?
6, 8, and 9.
They all go to school?
Yes, they do.
Well, what are you doing there in school?
I am at home. My boyfriend works.
Does he live with you?
No. He helps with my finances and helps me pay my bills.
Does the state also help you pay your bills?
Yes, they do.
So you're on welfare?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you get a job?
Because I'm currently in with a psychiatrist right now. I'm going to be applying for SSI.
What's the nature of your disability?
Severe depression and social anxiety.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the damages as a result of the assault. You didn't have any lost wages or anything else, so this is just pain and suffering. $2,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I want the credit card paid for purchases that she purchased.
There is no longer a friendship.
I'm not going to pay someone else's bill for their purchases that they have in their home.
Maybe one day, years and years from now, we might be able to work it out.
She's on welfare and now she's trying to get Social Security,
but probably not.
And she's 28 years old and she can perfectly get a job. She's not depressed.
It's just very sad that a 10-year friendship has to go down the drain.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pollard versus Jones. Step forward, please.
24-year-old student Sherry Pollard is suing her mother, nurse Pat Jones, for the return of her belongings. Pat is countersuing for phone bills, storage fees, and the return of property.
Miss Pollard, this is your mom.
Yes.
And it is your claim that your mom acknowledges that she kept your personal property when she told you and your son that you had to leave her home.
Yes.
And you want your property back. And your mom says you can have your property back when you pay her the money that you owe her. She seems to allege that you owe her some money for a cell phone bill, for property that you took when you left that didn't belong to you, and something for storage. Had you always lived with your mother?
No, I had not lived with her since I was 16.
And when did you move back?
It was February earlier this year.
And when did she tell you to leave?
I believe it was the 18th of June.
Why did you tell her to leave, Miss Jones?
There had been numerous times that I told her to leave because she became verbally abusive at different times, and told her that this was not working out.
So it wasn't working out because you didn't like her attitude?
Absolutely.
So you told her to leave?
Yes.
Okay. And on June 18th, did she leave?
I had reminded her on June 18th that as of the end of the month she needed to move. And I had told her that at the beginning of June. She was allowed to live with me as long as she was in school full-time.
Just a minute. You told her she had to leave.
Yes.
And what happened on the 18th of June?
She wanted to go to the storage and get her things, which I went with her to the storage and wanted her to sign the storage over to herself. It was in my name.
So?
She could not do that because she didn't have car insurance and they would not lease it to her.
Okay.
So during the day...
The storage unit is storage unit where she put her stuff...
Her belongings.
When she moved into your house?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
But earlier that day when I had told her that she had to move, her demeanor began to escalate and she became verbally abusive again and told me that she was going to take everything she could from me because I had not been the kind of mother I should have been to her.
Okay.
So with that knowledge and going to the storage, I decided that I was going to hold that property until she moved out and I knew that my property was safe.
And?
And when she left, when she moved that day, it was not safe.
Now, what was missing?
She took photographs off the wall. She took...
What photos?
There was a photo, a 1920 photo of my former mother-in-law who I was very close to, who is now deceased.
What else?
She took a rolling pin. She took lids to the Tupperware. She took a cutting board. I mean, mundane, silly things.
Okay, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else that was important?
She took money out of my closet.
How much money did you take out of your closet?
I'm estimating $200 to $300 in change.
Did you take any change from her house?
No, ma'am.
No. What else?
That's all.
So she took this property out of your house and?
And I asked for it back.
What else does she owe you for?
Just the storage and her cell phone.
Well, tell me about the cell phone.
When she moved in, she wanted a cell phone, and I told her she could use the landline phone that was in the home. She wanted a cell phone to run her little business that she was trying to create. And so I said, I will get you the cell phone, but you have to pay for it. She agreed to pay for that cell phone, which she never did. She also agreed to pay for her storage, which she never did.
Just a second. You got her the cell phone in February or March?
The beginning of February.
So you got the bill in February?
Got the bill in March.
And did you pay the bill in March?
Absolutely.
Did you pay the bill in April?
Yes.
Did you pay the bill in May?
Yes.
Did you pay the bill the beginning of June?
Yes.
Okay. Did you pay the storage bill?
I did.
Was your daughter working?
She was working part-time.
Yes.
And she was not paying me any money.
Good.
She kept saying, I don't have any money to pay you.
Was she also going to school?
She was going to school, and I was paying for her books. I put her on my insurance. I paid her medical, her co-pays.
Fine. How old are you?
24.
Okay. So, big deal. What I'm saying to you is, big deal. She came back to you for a reason. Difficult time. She's 24 years old. How old's your child?
He just turned 6.
Okay. So she's clearly a young lady who's made some mistakes. Right?
Yes.
Okay. But she's doing the right thing. She's going to school. She's working part-time. She's buying her own clothes. At least she's trying to buy her own clothes. She's taking care of her from whatever little money she's making. I mean, it's not as if she's sitting around playing the guitar and eating bonbons all day. What do you want?
What I want is I want what is fair.
I'm going to tell you what's fair. What's fair is 5 days from today, you want to open the storage unit. You will meet there. You can have a police escort if you wish. She's going to take out her stuff. And as far as the rolling pin, the photos, and anything else, did you take any of that stuff?
No, Your Honor.
Shh.
No.
You have the photo that she's referring to. Don't lie to me.
No, I do not.
Did you take it?
No.
Okay. Did you promise your mother that you would pay for the cell phone?
No.
What about the storage? Did she ask you for money for the storage unit in March?
No.
April?
No, she knew I did
In
not
May.
have any.
Are you still in school?
Yes, I am. I'm full-time right now.
Who's supporting you?
Myself. I have 2 jobs right now.
Okay. 5 days from today, Ms. Pollard, your daughter gets all of her stuff back. I don't think that there's any basis for me to find that there was a loan on your part to your daughter for the cell phone or for the storage unit. I'm sorry if she was in fact fresh to you, and she might have been.
Well, Your Honor.
There's a whole history, so I'm sure that she probably said things that she shouldn't have. Did you say anything to your mother that you shouldn't have?
Yes, I did get very upset.
Okay. Well, you shouldn't have, because it's probably hurtful, and I'm sure she's done things to you that you felt were hurtful, and she reacted to that. But reacting to it does not create a loan. Your counterclaim is dismissed. Her property is to be returned to her within 5 days. Thank you very much.
Your
That's
Honor.
all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think this is very sad.
Very untrustworthy.
A mother and a daughter have to come to this.
Very vindictive.
The abuse that I've incurred from her over the years.
I don't know what kind of person she is anymore.
Physical and emotional and verbal.
I think I'd probably like to see us go our separate ways.
No, I don't feel I was wrong at all.
I'm done.
Get help.
Ms. Sherman, the defendant was your boyfriend, who you claim used your credit card with your permission, with a promise that he would return the money that he used on the credit card. Is that right? Mm-hmm. The defendant says that he has a band that travels and that he did use your credit card,
Yes, ma'am.
and the credit card was used for your expenses at a time when you decided that you wanted to travel with a band. And if I understand you, Mr. Brown, your defense is that when you and the members of your band travel together, you minimize those expenses by sharing rooms, lodging, etc. You had to have a separate room with her.
Yes, ma'am.
You explained that carefully to her so that I assume that most of the charges that were made on her credit card were lodging expenses, right?
There
Good,
was some-
because that's your defense. So this is going to be an easy case. Let me see the expenses on the credit card.
Yes, ma'am, I have...
I mean, I read your defense, so without any further fanfare, let me see if we have a whole bunch of lodging expenses.
I have the credit card, and I made a list here, too.
Well, we have a motel in Loxley, Alabama. Then we have a charge for Guitar Center, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your charge?
That was the charge.
Is that your charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a motel? Is
No,
it a
ma'am.
hotel? Motel or hotel?
No, ma'am.
What is it?
It's a guitar store.
Does she play the guitar?
No, ma'am.
So it was your guitar?
It was equipment.
It was equipment. It wasn't a guitar.
For special effects.
Shh, just a second.
Sorry.
That's not a hotel. Explain me.
Okay. Some of the things she bought on the credit card were gifts. There was the one thing that she bought me at Guitar Center was microphones, but that was paid back in cash.
Did he pay you back for that?
No, ma'am. I have a copy of all the payments that were made. I have the checkbook.
You have any proof that you paid her back this $331 for the Guitar Center?
No, ma'am.
Perfect. $331. Then we have goodies. What is that? Is that your charge?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Music Gear, Columbus, Georgia. Is that a motel?
No, ma'am.
What is it?
That's a music store.
It's a music store for you.
I assume, yes.
What's Fat Tuesday? Gulf Shore, Alabama.
That's where he stayed. That's where they were playing at Fat Tuesdays.
Then we have oil, gasoline, I assume, in Owassa, Alabama. Some big gigs. $18. What's that?
I'm not sure.
Well, where do you come from?
Pine Mountain, Georgia.
In Georgia.
Pine Mountain.
So if there's a charge here from Alabama for gasoline, that would be you.
Not necessarily, because Columbus, Georgia, and Pine Mountain is right on the line to where you can. It's crossover in Alabama.
It's a 1 hour drive. May I say something, please? I had went through all the charges and I put it in order. First charge was the Guitar Center, where he bought equipment, $331. Goodies Columbus was where he bought clothing. Played against sports, he wanted to play golf while he was in Gulf Shores.
I'm looking at the credit card bill.
Okay, see, but I put it all in order.
Those are your lists. That's
in the
your
way.
list.
I thought it would be easier for you to look at.
No, I like to look here. I like to look here. Williams Super Center in Phoenix City, Alabama. What is that?
I have no idea what that is.
Well, maybe you'll explain it to me. Ms. Shuren.
That's the Walmart Super Center in Phoenix City.
Oh, okay.
Walmart
WM.
Super Center.
See, I'm so old-fashioned. It's the Walmart Super Center. Do you know what that's for?
Is that the one for $240?
Yes.
That was a Nintendo, Your Honor.
Nintendo.
That was also a gift.
You didn't sleep on it or with it, did you?
No.
Where's the Nintendo?
It's at my house now.
Good, then you pay for it. $240.56. Old Glory Distribution T-shirts, $125.60. Is that a bill that you're charging to him?
It's all his, Your Honor. I never used any of it.
Any of this credit card?
No, the agreement was that I would get the credit card in my name for his use and that he would make the payments.
You mean all of these payments?
He would make payments on the credit card.
You never used this for yourself at all?
I never used any of it for my purpose.
Oh, okay. So I have to make sure that...
It was a brand new card, never used. The membership fee, $50. He went to Guitar Center to get equipment. He got golfing equipment to play golf. And then he went to Gulf Shores. And then there's gas, there's Fat Tuesdays where they played, his food, there's the hotel. And when he got back from the trip to Gulf Shores and I got the first credit card statement and saw how much he had charged, I told him that the next time he uses that card, he better bring me some receipts. And then that was the last that he used of it.
So the balance on this card, the new balance is $1,097, sir, and it's not all for lodging.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Shuren says ex-boyfriend Steve Brown owes for unpaid credit card charges. Steve says they're Kimberly's charges.
Guitar Center, eating, gasoline, a lot of gasoline, because I assume you did a lot of traveling with your band.
Excuse me, Your Honor. All these things that are on this card were not purchased by me or even for me.
Really? You want to look over this and tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
I have a list.
Stop with your list.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to see your list. I want him to look at the actual charges on this credit card.
Go ahead and look at them.
Tell me which ones aren't yours, sir. Well, let's...
May I say something?
No.
Okay.
Ms. Shuren, you don't get any cameos or any awards for being stupid and giving somebody a credit card.
That's right.
Right? I've been saying that for enough years so that any normal person would not do that. Bert, how old is your oldest child?
18.
She have your credit card?
No, Judge. She watches the show, too.
Yeah, right. She may have asked.
No.
Didn't even ask.
Didn't even ask. Knew better.
Knew better.
She's got 2 jobs, though.
And you love her.
I'm crazy about her.
And she doesn't have your credit card.
And she can't have my credit card.
And you know her for 18 years.
I've known her all those years.
You got it, Ms. Shuren?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as,
Okie dokie.
yes, ma'am. As far as everything on here, the only things I can't actually prove them, but the service merchandise, I don't. For $58.62.
That was that blue boombox, the radio?
Mr. Brown, why don't you
Yes,
use your
ma'am.
own credit card?
Because he said it's
Why don't you use your own credit card?
I don't have one right now.
Is this the first time you've used a woman's credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask the rest of the members of your band. All right. Well, I don't know what you marked here, sir.
I didn't mark anything. The only thing that's on there is the gas receipts. She acts as if she doesn't drive and put gas in her car.
No, what she's saying, sir, is she didn't use this credit card at all. That you used the credit card. You were going to look through this and tell me which charges were not yours.
There's no charges on there that I could prove that weren't mine.
Oh, what an easy case. My own information. How long did you know him before you gave him this credit card?
A year and a half.
Were you living together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who paid the rent?
I did, and my sister.
Who paid the telephone?
Me and my sister.
Who paid the gas and electric?
We did. Me and my sister.
So that went on for a year and a half before you gave him the credit card?
Yes.
Judgment for the
Your
plaintiff
Honor.
in the amount of $1,154.94. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
So I thought, since he wasn't paying any rent or any utilities, that he would at least have the money to pay the credit card.
Everything was fine until we broke up, and then she decided that I owed her for everything she's ever spent.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Coleman versus Denies. Step forward, please.
20-year-old sales associate Michelle Coleman is suing her ex-boyfriend, 22-year-old auto painter Brad Denies, for illegally repossessing her car. Brad is countersuing, claiming Michelle wrecked 2 of his cars.
Ms. Coleman, you and the defendant were engaged to be married, and according to your complaint, during the course of your engagement, you were not engaged.
We were not engaged.
That's a lie.
So I...
So then let's get to the second thing maybe we can agree on, that you bought a car.
Yes.
That is in both your names, as well as the car loan.
Yes.
Then according to your complaint, you broke up, you kept the car. For some reason, which you will explain to me, the car was impounded. He got the car out of impound, paid the fees to get it out of impound, he kept the car. You want all the payments back that you made on the car plus your down payment. How much was the down payment?
$4,000.
He is counterclaiming for 2 cars that you allegedly damaged in April of 2000.
Yes.
Sir, do you admit or deny that she put down the down payment?
She used her check to put the down payment, yes. But half the money was mine because she owed me rent.
What she owe you rent from?
From the time we lived together, which was 9 months.
That's a lie. We never lived
Just
together.
a minute.
Yes, we did live together.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is part of the money was yours because she owed you money.
Yes.
Did you tell her that at the time?
Yes.
Look at me and tell me what you said to her when you signed the papers for the car loan.
I said that we are going to go in this car together, 50-50, because you were saving up for a car. When you lived with me, I didn't make you pay no rent, no utilities, so you could save up for your own car.
And what?
And that's it.
And that's it. Okay. So let me explain something to you. You didn't put any money down towards the car. The fact, Mr. Denies, that you just said to me, there was an agreement, and I'm taking your word, that you did live together, and your agreement was that she wouldn't pay any bills, but save up to buy a car. That's what you just said to me.
Yes.
Fine. Put your hand down. She didn't owe you the money. So $4,000 you put down on the car.
Yes.
Okay. And then you drove the car for how many months?
About 4 months, 5 months.
Until what date did you drive the car?
The car was impounded in November. So November
How was the car impounded? Under what circumstances?
I started seeing a new guy, and I loaned him the car. He didn't tell me he didn't have a license. He called me and told me that my car was impounded.
You got the car out of impound?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you getting the car out of impound.
I called her about 2 weeks before it got out of impound, and I said, what are we going to do about the car? She says, well, if you bail it out, then you can take over the $800 payments. And I go, you want me to do that? She goes, I don't care.
Okay. Now, when he bailed the car out, when he got it out of impound December 18th, did you have any further conversation with him?
Yes, I did. I told him that I was going to fight for it because I wanted my car back.
So did you sue him in December?
No, I did not.
Did you sue him in January?
No, I did not.
Did you sue him in February?
No, I did not.
Did you sue him in March?
That's when I started getting everything going.
Did you sue him in March?
No, I did not.
What were you driving?
I had bought another car.
Right. How did I know that? How much did it cost you to get the car out of impound?
$805.
You have a receipt for that?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Let me see it, please.
It was supposed to actually cost $795, but they charged us an extra $15 for cleanup of glass.
Contest or baby pageant?
Yes.
And the defendant entered her baby. She wrote out a check. Her baby entered the contest. Her baby didn't win. She stopped payment on the check. You want your money, right?
Yes, I do.
The defendant says that the contest was rigged, so she stopped payment on the check. Tell me about this pageant.
All right, Your Honor, this whole case is about this lady who has a major...
Shh. Pay attention to my question. Then we'll get along just fine. I said, tell me about the pageant. I'll figure out what this lady has or has not.
All right. It is a national pageant system. We did have a baby contest in it. Her baby did participate.
Where is this pageant or contest held?
It was held in Springfield, Illinois.
How many babies were entered?
There were 9 babies all told, 5 in her age division.
So tell me how it works. You advertised and you said there's going to be a baby contest. These are the age categories. And it says that you have to send in a fee for the contest?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and how much is that fee?
The deposit was $150. She pays the remainder of any fees when she reaches the pageant.
Now, what happens if they win this contest in Springfield?
If they win the contest, they win money.
How much?
She could have won a $500 bond. Actually, she could have won a $2,000 bond as an overall winner.
Overall winner
of one baby of the 2 age divisions.
Okay, so she sent in her $150.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
And then you travel to Springfield.
Correct.
And how much then does she have to pay once she gets to Springfield?
Depending on the events that she entered would decide how much more that she did owe.
What do you mean? I thought she just entered one baby contest.
There's several different categories.
Like what?
Photogenic, there is playwear, there is sleepwear, there are the prettiest eyes, hair, fashion.
And what do you win if you win the prettiest pajamas?
You can win a plaque, a laser engraved plaque.
A plaque?
Yes.
And each time she enters one of these little contests for the baby who looks nicest in their pajamas, there's an additional fee. Is that what you're telling me?
There is a fee for each thing that you do, yes, ma'am.
Sounds like a good business to me. And how many babies, for instance, entered in that contest if you have there the best looking baby in pajamas?
They all entered.
All 9 of them?
Yes.
And how much was the cost of each one of them entering that?
Well, it was $35 per category for that.
And how many of these little categories, eyes, pajamas, playwear, how many of those are there?
There are 5 for the babies.
And for that they get a plaque or a certificate if they win each
They
one?
could get a trophy.
Or a trophy.
The people who win money, crowns, and banners, and the big trophies are the queens.
I'm just talking about the things other than cash. So this is for you a business?
Absolutely, it's a business.
We're not talking about the baby who wins this contest gets to do some sort of a pilot for a movie. This is just pure ego on the part of parents. Is that right?
I would say so, yes.
Absolutely. It's just pure ego. Okay, Miss Doe, now I'll hear you.
Okay, we did do the pageant. My daughter was offered the prizes of the state queens, the savings bond that originated from her state pageant that I attended in Michigan. That's the only reason we attended her nationals, to receive the savings bond. We went to nationals, we did the pageant, everything was fine, except for she didn't have the savings bond. She said she would overnight it to me. So I started on my way home when I started looking over Lily's scores, which were amazing. So I called the hotel.
Just 1 second. So you tell me she owes you a savings bond?
Correct.
Do you owe her a savings bond from a previous pageant?
No, ma'am, I don't owe her a savings bond. She did receive the savings bond. And, in fact, I didn't owe her the bond. The Michigan director did. She overnighted the bond to me. I told Miss Doe the day of the crowning it hadn't arrived yet, but it was coming, and I would send it to her.
Did you send the bond?
Yes, ma'am, I sent the bond.
Well, I assume then you have the number of the bond, that you can trace it. Now, how much was the bond for?
$100, Your Honor.
It's a $100 bond. We're not talking about a lot of money. But if you didn't send the bond to her, and you were supposed to, that you have to do. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand
Good.
that.
Perfect. I don't want to see anything.
This is the letter she received with the bond, and it tells about the bond. So if she didn't get the bond, why didn't she speak up? I got this letter, but I didn't get the bond with it.
That's what she says.
She's lying.
That's what she
Please read
says.
that.
That's what she says. If she did not get the bond, she has to get the bond. All right, but let's go on with why you didn't pay the rest of these fees.
I
Madam.
proceeded on my way home. I didn't check the scores. I just figured, okay, my daughter placed fourth. She's done that before. She's had her wins. She's had her losses.
How many contests have you entered with her?
Beauty pageants, I've done maybe about a dozen of them.
Why?
They have prizes up to $10,000 savings bonds. It's always worth a shot. But anyways, I started checking the scores on the way home. My daughter has amazing scores, 9.8, 9.9. For instance, sleepwear, she got two 9.8s and a 9.9. Possible 30 points, she got, what would that be, 29.5. I've consulted with 2 other directors who said it's not physically possible 4 babies scored higher than a 29.5 out of 30 possible. Judges don't give straight 10s and straight 9.9s. I called her on the way home twice. Once she was in the pageant still, once I left a voicemail. She didn't return them. I contacted the state director who said to try contacting the parents. Maybe the parents will tell me the daughter's scores.
That's not true.
Well,
Don't speak.
I heard from 2 parents. One,
listen to me.
Okay.
Don't give me hearsay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, I tried emailing her twice when I didn't receive the bond. Didn't get any results. So I filed a complaint with PayPal, the one I paid her through. They tried contacting her. She ignored them also and refunded my money because they couldn't reach her. They gave her 10 days to respond to the notice.
Okay, just one sec. PayPal. What's PayPal?
It's an online computer where you can pay them through your debit, credit.
They didn't have anything to do with the bond. You told PayPal that you didn't receive merchandise.
That would be the savings bond.
You wasn't
No, is
supposed
that-
to receive any
just a second.
merchandise from me.
Shh. Don't speak to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have nothing better to do with your time than to take her around to show off her beauty, then what you're telling them from a very early age is that they are judged by the way they look, which is a very stupid thing to do.
And later today,
James had made threats to us and
That's
to
not
our
true,
home.
I don't want to
When
hear
everything
it.
turned violent, we had to have him escorted off the property twice.
The reason that you stopped payment was not because of this bond that you say you
There were
didn't
2 reasons,
receive,
because she wouldn't return
that you
my calls
say you
about the
didn't
scoring.
receive. The problem was you thought your daughter should have won the contest. As a matter of fact,
Not
when you
one
talk,
place somewhere higher. Yes, I do. 2 other judges or directors agreed.
They weren't there.
There were 5 babies in the
listen
division.
to me. Don't speak to her. How many times do I have to explain to you not to speak to her? You say in your answer that you believe the pageant was rigged. That's why you didn't pay her. It had nothing to do with the bond.
That's not true.
Well,
I
that's
had
what you
2
say in your
reasons.
answer, madam. And that's the only reason that this PayPal would not pay. If you had said to them, I entered my daughter in a contest and I think the contest was rigged and I want to stop paying, they would say, that's not a reason to stop. Listen, Ms. Doe, you want to schlep your daughter from one state to another to be in beauty pageants, that's totally up to you. I cannot discourage you from doing that. Sometimes she's going to win, sometimes she's not going to win. Sometimes somebody's going to be a favorite, and sometimes the whole thing is going to be a sham. If you have nothing better to do with your time than to take her around to show off her beauty, that's a very sad. How old is she?
2.
I would say at 2 you should be sitting home reading books to her, not schlepping her around from one beauty pageant to another. If you don't understand by now that this lady is in business to make money.
I understand that, Your Honor, but it's
just a
also her job to
Listen to me.
consult with parents.
Listen to no, it
You
isn't.
can't take the money.
No, it isn't. You got to pay the money. You don't like this contest? Don't enter it again. You think without witnesses I'm going to find that this contest was rigged? It's not going to happen. I want to tell you something. Very, very good expression. Beauty fades, dumb is forever. What you're supposed to do if you have a daughter is to try to teach her that her mind is more important than her face. And I know that this isn't very good for the plaintiff's business, but if everybody out there would try to understand that what's in here is much more important long term than what's here, and that usually children do not thrive from being schlepped from one place to another and primped and made up, dressed up, because then what you're telling them from a very early age is that they are judged by the way they look, which is a very stupid thing to do. Stupidity here does not get rewarded. She's entitled to her money, $321. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm very happy to be getting the money back that's owed to me.
If they weren't going to award my daughter properly, then I deserve the refund.
But I'm not happy with the picture painted of pageants and my business.
Everybody has their own opinions.
She's got a big case of sour grapes.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of AG versus Horry, step forward, please.
Rebecca Agee and her fiancé James Crane are suing their former friends Scott Horry and his wife Sarah for moving expenses and the value of personal property. The Horrys are countersuing for lost wages and emotional distress.
Mr. and Mrs. Agee, you and the defendants had been good friends. According to you, you were living in Oregon. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And both couples decided that they would be better off in their lives if they relocated to Iowa. Now, who came from Iowa?
We did, Your Honor.
So you agreed to sort of split the costs of moving and travel together. And once you got to Iowa, Mr. and Mrs. Horry were going to help you find a job. I don't know whether you were going to live together, but hopefully you would both live happily ever after in Iowa.
Okay.
Well, it didn't work out that way. And according to you, things turned sour on the trip. You claimed that the Horrys owe you for expenses, property that they kept, mental anguish, and you also want them to pay for your trip back from Iowa to Oregon because it didn't work out. They say that they thought everything went along just fine. They have a counterclaim because they say that you aggravated them.
Breathe.
Breathe. All right. Let me hear it succinctly.
We thought that they were really good friends of ours when we met them. We moved into 10 Mile, Oregon, and they were our neighbors, and we invited them over many times for everything.
Let's cut to the chase. You decided to move to Iowa with them.
We moved to Iowa with them. When we got to their home in Iowa, they were rude to us. They put us in a small room with 2 cat boxes. I also have he's almost 8 months old now, my son. When we got there, we had no money. They were supposed to pay us for half of the U-Haul.
Which was how much?
$117.50. And they said that we owed them money instead.
What did they owe you money for?
We paid for everything, including the trailer. We agreed upon that we would also give them a place to stay, give them a job, and we did all of that. Above and
That's not
beyond,
true, Your Honor.
when they had reached Colorado, when they ran out of money, I had gone...
They ran out of money in Colorado?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. His parents helped them out to get gas, and they came up to Wyoming
And met
finally
us where
and
we were
met us
supposed to
there.
meet.
Did you need to borrow some money from his parents? That's easy to find out, so just answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much money did you take from his parents?
Somewhere around $30.
You mean the two of you were traveling with a new baby with absolutely no money? Now, wouldn't it have been more prudent to stay in Oregon and save a little more money? Save $500, $1,000. Save it up so that you're not driving around with an 8-month-old baby with no money.
We had the money, ma'am. We ended up paying for the U-Haul. Mr. Horry paid for the deposit on the U-Haul.
Are you saying $117? Is that what
No.
you're talking about?
That's
how
half
much?
of it. That's half of it. The full amount was $230-something, I believe.
Yes.
We would have had the full amount if they would have given us the money when we got there to make it all the way.
You're just not following me.
I'm sorry.
That's a big trip to make.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
unless things are so terrible in Oregon that you weren't surviving there.
We were hoping for a brand new start, something new. They guaranteed him a job when
You
we got
can't
there.
guarantee anything. No, you don't rely on anybody for anything.
Yeah, we've learned that in the past
Well, you
couple
don't.
months.
All right. His parents gave you $30 for gas. Did you ever pay him back?
No.
We haven't made it that far yet.
What's next?
When they reached Cheyenne, Wyoming, I went up to Becky, knowing they had no money left, and said, would you rather me pay for the rest of your gas to get to Iowa since you have no more money left? And that was the new agreement.
Okay, and you had no money for, just a second, and you had no money for gas.
Right.
So how much did you pay for gas for their car?
Approximately around $200. And we also were paying for food, which was a new agreement, so we had no problem with that.
And we
What
are
was the
not
new-
suing for that.
Okay, so it's clear to me you had no money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you had to borrow $30 from his parents. And how many days were you on the road after you borrowed $30 from his parents?
Less than a day.
Less than a day.
And then you got to the house?
No, we met in Cheyenne and we
Okay.
drove.
How many days was it that
were
you
on the
lived
road.
in the house?
We were there for a little over 24 hours.
How much did you spend in gas? I'm trying to figure out if we've used up this $117.
We have receipts, Your Honor.
I'm asking you.
From what point, Your Honor? I don't understand.
From the point you ran out of money.
We ran out of money in Longmont to
How did
Iowa.
you eat? Who fed you?
We stopped for food once with them. And
What
that
about
was
when
it.
you got to the house? You said they put you
They
in a room.
had no food at
They
the
had-
house.
Yeah.
They had no electricity. We had to clean out the refrigerator.
Just a second. So how did you eat that day?
We didn't.
We went and bought them Pizza Hut.
Yes, we
We
had
bought
Pizza Hut.
them a whole bunch of food. The very next day, we also went out and bought them a big barbecue to have food, and we provided their baby with formula.
Does any of that sound right? You had no money.
No, ma'am.
How did your baby eat?
I had formula for him when
Listen,
I left
I'm not
Oregon.
bothering with this. They're not paying for your trip home. They're not paying for any of the moving expenses from Oregon to Iowa. They've already taken care of that. Now, you want to tell me, what about the value of personal property you say they kept? What personal property did they keep?
They pawned our television set and
TV. What happened to their television sets? The only
Yes, we did pawn it because she gave us every permission to sell all their stuff when they left, because they left and they had no intentions to come back, and she made sure that I
Yes,
kept
we
her
did, Your
green
Honor.
tub. She had a green tub full of personal belongings, like pictures, birthday cards, and stuff like that, that she had said meant so much to her. So I promised her and I swore to her we would not get rid of that stuff.
And for 2 days straight, it was, what do we do with your belongings?
That's
the
not
first
true, Your
night,
Honor.
it was,
he asked me
I don't,
how long I should keep. He should keep it.
the first night, I understand everything was in an outrage. She had said, I don't care what you do with my stuff, just don't get rid of my big green bucket.
Now, how much did you sell the TV for?
Somewhere around $80-some is what we got for it at the pawn shop.
Okay. Now, let me hear your counterclaim.
We're suing because, or countersuing because James had made threats to us, to our vehicles, and
That's
to
not
our
true, Your
home
Honor. I don't want to hear
when
you.
everything
I'm
turned
speaking.
violent and he was starting to push his way around, and we had to have him escorted off the property twice.
Your Honor.
Our neighbors,
When was that?
It had to have been in August. I'd say around the 25th.
And you haven't seen him since?
No, we
Your
haven't.
Honor.
Shh. Speak now. And you haven't had any contact with him in many months. Is that right?
Nope, not except for
What
through you.
else?
And loss of wages is all we're suing
What loss
for.
of wages for what?
We think it is a waste to be here.
You should have said no. What? No isn't part of your vocabulary?
No.
There you go. Somebody calls you and says, would you like to have your dispute resolved before Judge Judy Sheindlin? And you say, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss work. There you go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get nothing.
Ma'am.
Zippo.
That's cool.
Good. Cool. You get $80 for your TV. And go. Have a happy life. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Everybody was all stressed out.
It didn't work out.
They don't respect other people's belongings.
I feel that I've been disrespected.
They don't respect other people.
I wish we could have mended the friendship.
They care only about themselves.
I do believe in
They weren't just preserving a dynasty. They were breeding a god. That's what the high priests whispered behind the thick walls of Alexandria's marble temples, when they thought no one could hear. Because what lived inside the royal palace wasn't just a family. It was a carefully constructed genetic machine, not to create beauty, not to produce heirs, but to engineer control. And its final product was Cleopatra. You've heard of her as a queen, a seductress, a strategist, but you've never been told the truth. The blood that ran through her veins. It wasn't human in the way we think of it. It was ritual. It was sacred. It was corrupted. For 300 years, the Ptolemies, her ancestors, married each other. Brother to sister, uncle to niece, mother to son, over and over again, until the blood looped in on itself like a serpent devouring its own tail. And this wasn't madness. It was method. Because Egypt didn't want rulers. It wanted gods. And in the ancient mind, divinity came from purity, not morality, not wisdom, but blood. That's why Cleopatra's family refused to dilute their line with outsiders. They weren't protecting power. They were preserving something older, something darker. But here's the cost. Every generation, the gene pool shrank. Physical deformities increased. Mental instability became tradition. Betrayal became ritual. Madness wasn't the price of power, it was the currency. You weren't born into this family. You were absorbed into it, groomed to worship your own reflection, to love your sibling, to fear your mother, to kill your cousin. This wasn't royalty. This was psychological warfare, turned inward. And Cleopatra? She wasn't the exception. She was the culmination. The final queen of a cursed algorithm. The end point of a spiral that should have collapsed generations before her, but didn't, because something was sustaining it, feeding it. Not just political need, but belief. A belief that their blood was sacred, that it was better to go mad together than be ruled by sane strangers. And that belief, soaked in centuries of incest and isolation, gave birth to a woman who would charm emperors, bend Rome to her will, and die with secrets still clenched between her teeth. Secrets that were never meant to escape the tomb, but they just did. You've heard of Alexander the Great, but you haven't heard what he left behind. When he died without an heir, the empire fractured. And out of that chaos rose men who weren't just generals, they were architects of new orders. Among them was Ptolemy, a childhood companion of Alexander, who seized Egypt not with chaos, but calculation. He didn't claim the throne as a soldier, he claimed it as a god. And to make it believable, he needed more than an army. He needed myth. So he stitched together Greek heroism and Egyptian divinity, crowning himself not just king, but pharaoh, divine ruler, son of gods, voice of the sacred order. But gods don't marry peasants, they marry themselves. And thus began the ritual. The dynasty would become a closed loop, a human Ouroboros. The first few generations disguised it well, ceremonial, symbolic, almost innocent. But innocence died quickly in palaces soaked with paranoia. With every sibling union, the spiral tightened. There was no outside blood, no new minds, only mirrors, reflecting mirrors, until the entire royal court was speaking in tongues of incest, control and quiet hysteria. But this wasn't ignorance. It was policy. In their world, blood was law. To marry an outsider wasn't just betrayal, it was blasphemy. It meant surrendering divine right to the chaos of foreign veins. And so they didn't surrender. They turned inward. The men took sisters as brides, then nieces, then daughters. A king who didn't marry a relative was suspect. A queen who didn't bed her brother was rebellious. And rebellion was crushed, quietly, publicly, permanently. Because there's a certain kind of silence that surrounds power this old. It's not the absence of noise, it's the presence of fear. And in that silence things fester. Children born with twisted limbs, heirs whose minds unraveled by 15, queens who poisoned their nephews to secure the throne. But the scrolls don't call it madness, they call it succession. This dynasty didn't need war to fall apart. It waged war on itself. Each ruler born from a tighter knot than the last, until identity itself dissolved, where a man could be father, brother, and husband, all in one breath. Where a daughter could also be an aunt and a wife. Where your blood was so tangled with your throne, you no longer ruled it. It ruled you. Cleopatra inherited that throne, but she did not inherit their blindness. She saw the monster, and chose to ride it. By the time Cleopatra was born, the palace was no longer a home. It was a war zone, but not of armies and sieges, of glances, whispers and knives hidden behind fruit bowls. Every corridor in the palace of Alexandria echoed with the ghosts of kinslaying. You couldn't take a step without walking on secrets. Assassins didn't need to be hired from the outside. They were born into the family. Here's what they don't teach. You, Cleopatra's childhood, was soaked in surveillance. Every meal might be her last. Every servant might be a spy. Her father, Ptolemy the Fiend, nicknamed Auletes, the flute player, was seen as weak. Rome propped him up like a puppet. And in return he offered gold, daughters, and obedience. But Cleopatra watched and learned. She saw how power did not belong to the strongest, but to the quietest. To those who smiled at their executioners and poisoned their wine a week later. The Ptolemaic court was a theater of masks, and Cleopatra became its star pupil. Not through cruelty, through control. By the time she was 14, she spoke at least 9 languages. By 16, she understood how to weaponize beauty without offering it. And when her father died, she didn't just inherit a kingdom. She inherited a ticking time bomb of brothers, half-siblings, Roman ambitions, and local revolts, and she smiled. But behind that smile was a blade. She married her younger brother, as was expected, a boy king manipulated by his advisors, a figurehead in a game Cleopatra had already mastered. When the council tried to sideline her, she didn't protest. She vanished, then returned with an army. Let me make this clear. Cleopatra didn't win by force. She won by seduction of minds. She didn't need a war to reclaim her throne. She needed Caesar, and so began her most legendary maneuver. But the Roman records tell only half the story. They call her lover, temptress, queen of excess. But beneath the perfume and silk, Cleopatra was constructing something darker. A new dynasty, fused with Roman blood, sharpened with Greek cunning, and cloaked in Egyptian divinity, because she knew the truth. Her lineage was broken. Her bloodline was collapsing under its own weight. If she didn't fuse it with fresh power, external, unstoppable, Egypt would vanish into the sands. So she turned her body into a battlefield, her mind into a fortress, and her name into a weapon. Imagine a tree with no branches, only loops. That was Cleopatra's family line, a spiral of self-marriage, twisting tighter with each generation until it strangled itself. 9 generations of inbreeding, each a gamble with fate, each child a coin toss between legacy and deformity. And yet Cleopatra stood at the end of it, whole, sharp, commanding. Or so we're told. But history lies, especially royal history. You see, when a dynasty survives by breeding within, it doesn't just pass down wealth or title, it amplifies everything. Not just the noble traits, but the flaws, physical anomalies, mental instability, psychological fractures too deep to speak of. This is the forbidden science of elite bloodlines. They weren't marrying for love, or even lust. They were preserving something ancient, an idea. The divine right of rulership encoded in blood. But blood doesn't obey myths. It obeys biology. And biology is brutal when you cheat its design. Children born with cleft palates, swollen limbs, cognitive disorders. But that's not in the scrolls, because in the ancient world, kings didn't suffer. Their scribes did. Their servants vanished. And if a child was born broken, the record simply never existed. So what about Cleopatra? Coins and sculptures show a face that's haunting. Not beautiful in the modern sense. A long nose, sharp chin, deep-set eyes. Regal, yes, but stylized, artistic, controlled. That's the word, controlled. Every image of Cleopatra was propaganda, a weapon of perception. To the Roman world, she was a seductress. To Egypt, a living goddess. But in the mirror, what did she see? We don't know. And that's the point. Because in a court built on illusion, truth is the most dangerous thing you can speak. If Cleopatra had defects, physical or mental, they would have been erased. Not out of kindness, but necessity. The illusion had to live, even if the woman died behind it. And yet, she ruled, without documented madness, without a public breakdown. Which means one of two things. She truly was the exception. Or she became the mask so completely that even madness bowed to her. Now ask yourself this. If your blood carried 9 generations of rot, if every ancestor was both your uncle and your sibling, how would you survive? You would bury the mirror. You would bury the past. And you would become something else entirely. A myth, a god, a weapon against time. Power changes the body, but isolation rewires the soul. Inside Cleopatra's palace, you weren't raised, you were sculpted. From infancy, she wasn't allowed to be a daughter or a sister or even a girl. She was royalty, sacred, property of a bloodline. That didn't believe in childhood, only in utility. She didn't grow up in a family. She grew up in a system. And that system had one rule. Obedience is survival. But Cleopatra broke it. Not with rebellion, but with precision. She studied Rome, not like a rival, but like prey. She didn't see Caesar as a god. She saw a man with a weakness for legacy, and she made herself that legacy. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Her affair with Caesar wasn't romance, it was ritual. The final step in her bloodline's transformation. not through Egyptian incest, but through Roman conquest. She was fusing the two empires not in war, but in womb. Her son Caesarion wasn't just a child. He was the answer to 300 years of inbreeding. Fresh blood, Roman strength, Egyptian divinity, a hybrid god. But the empire doesn't like hybrids. Rome couldn't tolerate a boy who could claim both Caesar's name and Egypt's throne, so they erased him. Quietly, brutally, as they did with all threats to the illusion of order. And that brings us to you, because by now you understand. This isn't just history. This is a mirror. You live in systems that rewrite truth, that sanctify bloodlines, whether royal, political, or corporate. You're told your leaders are chosen, but you're never shown the choices. You're told to trust the mask, but never to ask who wears it. Just like Cleopatra's world, only now the palace is global. So if you've made it this far, you're not just watching a video. You're undergoing initiation. You're stepping outside the illusion. And to seal that transformation, to show the algorithm who you've become, comment the phrase below, twice. Blood is not destiny. Blood is not destiny. Say it once to speak. Say it twice to awaken. Because the world still breeds rulers behind velvet curtains, still scripts bloodlines in boardrooms, and still expects you to obey the architecture of power. But you're not meant to obey. You're meant to see. And once you see, there's no going back. They will tell you Egypt fell because of Rome, that Cleopatra died for love, that the snake bite was mercy. Lies. The truth is this: the dynasty didn't collapse, it was collapsed. From within, Cleopatra's end wasn't written by fate. It was engineered by centuries of manipulation, and finished with Roman steel, because what Rome feared most wasn't her seduction, it was her survival. She had built something dangerous, a sovereign woman with divine blood, imperial intellect, and a living heir that carried Caesar's name. A child who could unite East and West, shake the Republic's foundation, and remind the world that power doesn't flow from Rome alone. That was the threat, not Cleopatra's charm, not her lovers, her legacy. So they erased it. Octavian, later called Augustus, wasn't just Caesar's heir. He was Rome's scalpel, and he knew, to forge an empire, he had to destroy Cleopatra's lineage completely. Not just physically, but mythologically. He didn't want to defeat her. He wanted to unwrite her, and that's exactly what he did. He paraded her death like a Roman victory, spread whispers of her vanity, her promiscuity, her sorcery. He made her a symbol of foreign excess. A cautionary tale, a woman who loved too much, schemed too far, died too dramatically. But here's what they don't teach. Cleopatra didn't go quietly. She negotiated to the end. She tried to preserve her children, her throne, even her own image. But the machine had already been set in motion. Caesarion, her son, was hunted and executed. Her other children scattered, raised by Roman victors as symbols of mercy. Her bloodline was bled dry, and the world applauded. Because Rome understood something you must understand now. Legends are more powerful when you control how they're remembered. That's why Cleopatra isn't taught as a strategist, a linguist, a queen who ruled without a king. She's taught as a seductress, a woman who slept her way into relevance. Because reducing her to sexuality is easier than confronting her power. But power like hers doesn't die. It transforms. It becomes story, warning, weapon. You are living in a world built by the survivors of that erasure. And every system around you, political, economic, cultural, is still built to sanitize the truth, reshape the past, and feed you characters instead of history. But now you know better, and knowledge like blood is not easily undone. The tomb has never been found. Think about that. The greatest queen of the ancient world. Dead by her own hand, or so they say, and yet not a single confirmed grave. No sarcophagus, no royal burial chamber. Just silence. A silence so deafening it echoes louder than the Roman triumph. Because that silence was intentional. You see, Cleopatra didn't die to be remembered. She died to control what would be remembered. She understood what every real ruler eventually learns. Physical power fades. Armies dissolve. Dynasties rot. But memory is eternal. If she couldn't win the war of nations, she would win the war of perception. And she has. 2,000 years later, we still speak her name. Still argue over her features, her lovers, her motives. That's not an accident. That's mastery. But here's what the world still hasn't caught. Her body was never meant to be found. Because her tomb wasn't just a resting place. It was a vault. A firewall. a final act of control. Legends say it was sealed with traps, curses, ancient codes. Others whisper it was never built at all, that she and Antony were cremated in secret, their ashes scattered to deny Rome its trophy. But the truth? It lies somewhere in between. She erased the location, because that's what gods do. They don't leave bodies, they leave symbols. And that's what Cleopatra became, the final symbol of a bloodline engineered to rule, broken by incest, then reborn through defiance. She was never supposed to win, but she was never meant to vanish either. She turned her story into a maze, one Rome couldn't solve, a labyrinth of beauty and brutality, love and manipulation, power and prophecy. And you're standing in that maze right now, because the more you learn, the more the world around you starts to look like the palace she escaped. Controlled narratives, manufactured myths, sacred bloodlines hiding behind polished smiles. You were never supposed to hear this. You were supposed to accept the clean version. Cleopatra the temptress. Rome the savior. History is progress, but progress is a story told by those who buried their enemies well. Not you. You just unburied something. And now you carry it, because her tomb may be lost. But her weapon survived, and it's in your mind now. What if I told you the powdered wig wasn't a fashion statement? It was a mask, a deception. And the ones who wore it, they were hiding something they could never say aloud. You weren't supposed to know this. You weren't supposed to ask, because beneath those clouds of white powder was rot. Rot of the body, rot of the mind, and rot at the very core of society itself. The image you have of powdered wigs in candlelit ballrooms, powdered faces sipping wine in Versailles, is a fabrication, a polished illusion sold to history by those who controlled the narrative. But behind that image was a silent plague, one that gnawed at the flesh and dissolved identity. Syphilis. It didn't just destroy the body, it unmade reputations. One balding patch on the wrong man's head could unravel an entire lineage of aristocracy. Because in the 17th century, appearance wasn't just vanity, it was currency. And if your hair fell out, you were bankrupt. So they powdered, they puffed, they perched elaborate constructions of false hair on top of skulls, riddled with sores and scabs. And they called it fashion. But this wasn't about style. This was about power. Because when a man loses his health, he loses control, unless he builds a new face, one so perfect, no one dares question the truth behind it. And they did it well. They built masks so convincing that entire empires forgot what disease looked like. So convincing that centuries later, you still think of powdered wigs as elegant. But it wasn't elegance. It was desperation. It was damage, disguised, powdered, and paraded. And the kings made it law. Because when the rot starts at the top, the whole court starts to stink. And instead of cleaning it, they sprayed perfume on the corpse. You think this is history? No, this is a warning. Because even now, you wear masks, you hide wounds, and the institutions above you, they taught you how. They always have. And this powdered fantasy was just the beginning. They called him the Sun King, Louis XIV of France, glorious, radiant, divine. But what they don't tell you is that even the sun can hide behind clouds. By the time Louis was 15, his hair was falling out in clumps. Not from stress, not from age, but from something darker, something unspeakable. Rumors swirled through the corridors of Versailles. Il est malade, they whispered. He's sick, but kings do not get sick. Not in public, not in the age of divine right. So Louis did what every great manipulator does. He didn't fix the problem. He buried it in beauty. He commissioned 48 personal wig makers, 48 artisans, not to create style, but to fabricate perfection, layer by layer, strand by strand. They didn't build hairpieces. They built an illusion so powerful, it rewrote reality. His wigs weren't just accessories. They were architecture, massive, towering, curling constructions that distorted his silhouette into something godlike. They extended his presence in every room. They commanded silence. They screamed, "I am whole. I am eternal." But it was a lie. And like all royal lies, it became law. The nobility followed suit. If the king wore a wig, you wore a wig. To reject it was to reject power itself. So a nation shaved its heads and wore masks, not for health, not for beauty, but for control. And the real disease? It wasn't syphilis. It was performance. a performance so precise that even the sick looked strong, and the damned looked divine. Do you see it yet? This wasn't fashion. This was a ritual of deception, a daily costume to conceal the empire's rot. Louis didn't just redefine style, he redefined truth. He turned pain into pageantry, decay into divine right, and his court followed like lambs in powdered fleece. But here's what no one tells you. When you mask weakness to project strength, you don't become powerful. You become addicted to illusion, and every illusion needs protection, guards, rules, secrets, which means every man wearing a wig was also wearing a muzzle. Speak too freely, and your wig, your status, your identity could be stripped. So they stayed silent. And in that silence, the system thrived. You weren't allowed to say the word. Not in court, not in public, not even in whispers. Syphilis. It wasn't just a disease. It was a verdict. A man marked by it was seen as tainted, morally, spiritually, politically. His skin might survive, but his reputation wouldn't. So they built an empire of silence. And in that silence, the disease spread, unspoken, untreated, undenied. What started as a sore became a sentence. Skin peeled, noses collapsed, hair fell in patches, exposing more than just bone, exposing guilt. Because society didn't see illness as misfortune. It saw it as sin, proof that you had done something, touched someone, gone somewhere you shouldn't have. They didn't fear the sores. They feared what they said about you. So men who once strutted with pride began to disappear into shadows. Not physically, socially, unless they hid. And that's what wigs were, not adornment, armor. A full powdered wig could cover lesions, mask baldness, and erase suspicion. It didn't heal the body, but it healed perception. And in a world ruled by perception, that was enough. But let's speak clearly now. This wasn't just vanity. This was survival. Because to be exposed was to be erased. The powdered wig became a seal of normalcy. Put it on and you were whole. Respectable, clean, even if the scalp beneath it was rotting. And beneath that deception, something more dangerous was growing. Control. You see, once society ties morality to appearance, those who control the appearance control the morality. They tell you what is noble, what is shameful, what is allowed to be seen. They weaponize beauty and punish the visible signs of decay, even if they cause the decay themselves. This is the mind trap they built. To question the system was to question the mask. To question the mask was to reveal what lay beneath. And what lay beneath? Fear, not of the disease, but of being seen. And when a society fears being seen more than being sick, you know the sickness is in the soul. If this is making you see the world a little differently, comment I remove the mask twice. Once for the world, and once for yourself. You know what they never told you? Wigs were crawling with lice. Not just one or two, but infestations, tiny kingdoms of parasites feeding off powdered royalty. Because underneath the perfume, the lavender, the orange blossom, was filth. The truth is, most of Europe stank. Hygiene wasn't a routine, it was a luxury. Baths were rare. Scalp infections common. Combs weren't sterilized. They were shared. And yet the higher the class, the taller the wig. The more powder, the more perfume. It wasn't about cleanliness. It was about covering decay. They shaved their heads bald underneath. Man, woman, priest, politician. Why? Because it was easier to boil a wig than clean a human head. Think about that. Entire aristocracies were walking around in ornate, scented disguises. Fake hair, fake scents, fake skin. The wigs were treated like relics, sent to specialists who would boil out the lice, recurl the fibers, powder them with starch, chalk, even plaster of Paris. Then they'd douse it in oils, citrus, rose, bergamot, and return it to its wearer as if it were reborn. But nothing had changed underneath. The head was still diseased, the skin still inflamed, the infection still pulsing. All that changed was the illusion. They walked through Versailles like porcelain dolls, untouchable, divine. But the truth? They were decaying in disguise. And here's where the sickness deepens. This ritual of cleansing the wig became symbolic. As long as the wig was clean, the man was clean. As long as the hair was powdered, the soul was pure. They created a world where performance was virtue, where the illusion was more sacred than the body it hid. And we still live in that world. You wear products to cover fatigue. You curate photos to erase reality. You smile while your mind screams. And when you're breaking down, you reach for powder. Not the kind made of rice or starch, but the modern kind. Filters, titles, distractions, brands. You're not wearing a wig, but you're still covering lice. The powdered wig didn't die. It just changed form. And now you wear it on your screen. Here's what the elite never saw coming. The blacksmith, the merchant, the tailor's apprentice. They started wearing wigs too. At first it was subtle. Small curls, modest powder. A mimicry, a quiet rebellion. But it didn't stay quiet. By the 1700s, powdered wigs weren't just for kings. They were on bakers, soldiers, clerks. The streets were filled with silhouettes of aristocracy, worn by men who had never seen a throne. And that terrified the elite. Because when everyone can look like royalty, royalty loses its face. Imagine a nobleman in Versailles, powdered to perfection, stopping dead in his tracks when he realizes the man crossing the street in the same white curls is his blacksmith's son. The illusion broke. Because if power is only recognized through appearance, what happens when the poor start copying the mask? It becomes a crisis of identity. The aristocracy, built on visual distinction, was being visually overrun. So what did they do? They escalated. The wigs got bigger, taller, wider. They added feathers, ships, jewels. Some wigs became so elaborate they needed metal scaffolding to stand upright. It was no longer about fashion. It was a war, a symbolic arms race between those who owned power and those who dared to look like it. The elites were no longer hiding disease. They were hiding fear, fear that their monopoly on status was cracking, that their image could be imitated, their identity counterfeited. So they pushed back. They passed laws. They formed guilds. Only licensed wig makers could craft the real thing. Only the right fabrics, the right powder, the right scents. Gatekeeping went mainstream. This wasn't about hair. It was about hierarchy. Because in a world ruled by symbols, to control the symbol is to control the system. And wigs had become more than masks. They were crowns, disguised as curls. And the message was clear. You can play noble, but you'll never be noble. But the fire was lit. And what happens when enough men wear the crown without permission? The system starts to burn. It started with whispers, then pamphlets, then blades. By the late 18th century, Europe wasn't just powdered. It was pressurized. Too many men wearing wigs they didn't earn. Too many nobles hiding decay behind silk and starch. And too many commoners waking up, realizing the crown was nothing more than costume. The illusion was cracking. And in France, it shattered. The revolution didn't begin in blood. It began in mirrors. When men looked at themselves, powdered, perfumed, proper, and saw pretend kings, they had mimicked the image so long. They started to believe they deserved the throne, and maybe they did. Because if power is perception, then whoever controls the mirror controls the kingdom. The guillotine didn't just sever heads, it severed symbols. One by one, wigs fell into the baskets beside their owners. Powdered curls soaked in blood, perfume tainted by the stench of rot. The wig couldn't save them. Not the nobles, not the clergy, not the architects of illusion. For centuries, they built their status on a lie. That appearance equaled virtue. That scent masked sin. That fake hair meant real power. But when the mob came, they didn't ask about your tailor. They didn't care about your powder. They looked at you. And the masks, no matter how expensive, burned just like everything else. That's what they never understood. Deception has an expiration date. Every mask eventually rots. Every illusion eventually collapses. And when it does, the man underneath is forced to stand naked before history. No powder, no perfume, no protection. Just skin, just bone, just truth. The revolution wasn't just political. It was psychological. It was a mass unmasking. And once the wigs came off, so did the fear. The people had seen what was underneath, and they couldn't unsee it. This isn't just history. It's prophecy. Because every empire built on image will face a moment when the image cracks. And when that day comes, no amount of powder will save the ones who hid behind it. You think it ended in the 1700s? You think powdered wigs are relics? Portraits? Dust? Look closer. You're still wearing one. Not on your head, but on your identity. You don't powder your scalp. You filter your face. You don't hide sores. You hide weakness. You shave down your truth and lace it with curated fragments. Carefully constructed posts, borrowed thoughts, polished smiles, all designed to perform strength, while you bleed underneath. The powdered wig never died. It evolved. Now it lives in the boardroom, in your dating profile, in every "I'm fine" when you're drowning, in every silence where you should have screamed. Because somewhere along the line, you were taught that vulnerability is a threat, that perfection is protection, that the mask is more lovable than the man beneath it. But here's what they never told you. The longer you wear the wig, the more it grows into your skull. And just like the kings, you'll wake up one day unable to separate the illusion from the self. And that's exactly how they want you. Controllable, predictable, muted. Because a man too afraid to be seen is a man who will never rebel. So they teach you shame. They monetize your insecurity. They whisper, just one more filter, one more title, one more wig, and you obey. But now you know. You've walked through the disease, the lies, the empire built on powdered deceit, and now you're standing at the edge of it all, wig in hand. So the question isn't, did they manipulate us? It's, will you keep wearing it, or will you do what they feared most? Strip it off. Show the scars. Let the world see who you really are beneath the powder, the performance, the polite smile. Because only then can the illusion die, and only then can you begin, not as a king, not as a pawn, but as a man no longer hiding. So if this truth reached you deep in the marrow, comment it again. I remove the mask twice. Once for the man they silenced, once for the man you're about to become. This was never about wigs. It was about freedom, and the powder was their leash. Now break it and walk out clean.